Renars podcast.
Feel just like a rock star.
Exactly, and I'm having a real rock star in my shed right now. There you go. Give it up for Erol Ismail. That's the button. That's the button I was looking for. Oh, dude, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Fist there. Yeah, listen, we tried to organize this for a while now, but finally good things happen with a little wait. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about you, man. It's all about you. So we met about, I would say 9, almost 10 years ago. I still have that photo I'm trying to find where we're both sitting in box splits and just like, but for people, you know, who know you more for stunts and everything, but I know you for just having this massive heart, always supporting, always saying good things. Even you, like 50th time someone comes to gymnastics at you and say, oh, can you show me this move or can you show me that move? And you're always really, really nice and cool. So that's how I know you. And yeah, so thanks for being in the stunt industry. Thanks for being among all the athletes who are like training in East London Gymnastics in Beckton. And you also go to the other gym quite often.
Hendon Leisure Centre.
Yeah. How often do you train when you don't work?
When I don't work, I'm like literally twice a day I try to do.
Yeah, and when you say twice a day, it's like one of them would be like gymnastics or acrobatics, and what is the other one?
Some kind of martial art or yoga. I probably overdo it, but I always try to sort of be productive. Like if I can get away for an hour, obviously I've got a family now, so I've got to give time to them.
Yeah.
But if I can get away for an hour, then I'm there. You know what I mean? Just quickly back, go there, get it done, come back.
When did you start noticing whether you're overtraining or not?
I think probably like with work was quite a big one for me because obviously it's a lot of hours, and I was very ambitious with my training, so I was like that was my life.
Right.
There was no that's like my first love is like, you know, martial arts and stuff. So I was just trying to get every second of the day to develop and, you know, develop like my body, my mind, all the martial arts.
But then you notice at some point that you're like, okay, I'm pushing too hard.
Yeah, I just like at work, I would just always be a part of the day where I'm just like crashing like real bad, and we're just trying to like find little pockets of rest. So yeah, I just had to sort of adjust a little bit. And yeah, like with work as well, like sort of prioritizing work a little bit more. Which, you know, obviously our work, we get to train anyway, but it's not specific to what I really want to do sometimes.
Right.
Okay, and then it's sort of like accepting like, obviously work is part of training. To help me to be like, not to feel lazy, basically. I would always feel lazy if I didn't go like training after work or something. I let myself down, you know.
And I can totally confirm that. So last year I had a pleasure to work with you on The Witcher. Yep. The Witcher just came out. Yay! Well, just came out. The one we did season 3, and I remember, you were not sitting around anytime there was a free time. Erol was doing some shit. Like everyone was just like chilling, and you know, Erol needs to do some stuff. And I can, you know, I can relate to that sometimes, not all the time. So you did your first stunt job. I did a little kind of research, like when you were 16, 17 years old. And it was like this casting for like a free runners and stuff, right?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that was the first time you got that taste of, oh, that's cool to be in front of cameras to do stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. Trying to think like if there's anything else before that, like maybe some very small shows, that kind of thing. But this was like the first like big kind of it was an advert basically, so it was like, it was like, you're the guy, you got to do the stunts and stuff. So yeah, that was like the first big one, flying off, you know, this was like the big break kind of thing. So yeah, it was good.
Big break when you were 16, 17 years old. I did my first stunt job when I was 30. One.
It's never too late. Never too late. Never give up on your dreams.
yeah. That's what's up. And then so then you kind of got the taste of it, and then it just kind of continues with the shows. Because for listeners who don't know what shows we're talking about, so you guys did like martial arts shows, like you did TKD from a very young age.
No,
wasn't it?
No, I started TKD probably in my late 20s.
Oh,
yeah.
So
But
then
I did Kung Fu from probably like, I'm going to say, I think I started at 15, but I was always doing like, jumping off stuff and training at home. My dad done martial arts, so there was always a bag in the house and, just that kind of stuff really.
That's so cool that you were kind of exposed to that from such a young age. I was exposed to work in the farm, to shovel shit.
It's good qualities, good qualities, yeah.
It's the best qualities. Okay, then let's do it right. Let's do it chronologically right. So the first sports, what you remember as a kid, what do you start doing?
I think went into gymnastics, like after school gymnastics kind of thing. Like super basic, like forward rolls, handstands, and stuff. But definitely love that.
What age?
Probably around, I'd say maybe 10.
Right.
Yeah. And then from there, I found like a little school, like a little hall kind of school. But it was predominantly girls. So thinking about it now, like obviously we done like stretching and all that kind of stuff. I didn't know like the difference between like boys gymnastics, girls gymnastics. It was just like,
I thought you were going to say you didn't know the difference between girls and boys. In this day and age, probably that's okay.
Yeah, it's confusing times.
Yeah.
And so I did that for a little while. And then I stopped just because like starting secondary school and all that kind of stuff. And then I stopped for a little while until I found Hendon Gymnastics. And then I started back until I probably did about 2 years.
Right. Which part of London you grew up?
So I was born in East London, Hackney.
Right.
And then I moved to North London in Southgate. And then that's predominantly where my teens, I was there. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you got to Hendon Gymnastics.
So we went to Hendon Gymnastics. It was amazing. It was, like great facility and everything. It was run by the council back then, so it was a lot better than, unfortunately, what it is now. Very corporate now. And yeah, I always used to get into trouble because I was always doing like flying kicks and, I had so much energy. So I'd run, do my flip, whatever, and then the teacher would be like, "Oh, good, yeah, point your toes," all that kind of stuff. So I'd be like, "Cool," and then on the way back, I'll be doing like some kind of kicks or like waiting in the queue. And eventually, one of the teachers was like, "Look, you should go and do martial arts because obviously that's what you love." One of the coaches, Lisa, her husband was Ray Parks.
Shout out for Lisa.
Hey.
Her husband was Ray Parks.
Ray Parks, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
Who's Ray Parks?
Ray Parks is one of his iconic characters is Darth Maul.
Wait. Are you serious?
Yeah.
I doubled him. I was like, no, because I thought, is that the Ray Park you're talking about? Yeah, I doubled him on a film with Scott Adkins. I'll put a picture here.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I was probably the worst double for him because he's like half a head taller. Wow, yeah, that's crazy.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then like Star Wars, roughly around that time, just came out.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, cool. So she was like, look, go to this place. If you like it, then And then they were kind of like kicking me out as well. So I was like, oh, I can't stay here anymore. Because I didn't grow up like from a kid, so I didn't really get put into a squad. Although I was like, I want to do all the doubles and stuff like that, and but I was like in the crappy class basically.
Doubles. When you said doubles, what do you mean?
Double backs, double twists, all that kind of stuff.
I think a lot of people. What is he talking about?
And I was just like, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll try to do that then. So it was like Kung Fu. So I found the place, went there. It was in Golders Green, and it was basically it looked like a little temple. Had like little stairs, goes like into the archway. And then I kind of went in there and like everyone was just looking at me. I was like, oh shit, didn't know what to do. So I kind of just went to the teacher.
And you were like still around 11, 10 years old?
No, by this time I was 15.
Oh, 15, okay,
yeah,
a teenager.
15,
yeah.
And then I was like, right, I want to do some classes.
Mm-hmm.
And the little Chinese man, Master Lee,
Yeah.
he taught me so much.
And Ray Park was one of the students.
He was one of the students, yeah.
Right, because around that time he was already like a British champion, or
Yeah. So that was cool, and like the class was like crazy packed. So like the standard was like really good.
Oh wow!
You know, obviously I didn't do any kind of martial arts up until then, and then that was it. I was like, right, I'm doing this every day, and did that like probably 10 years plus.
Wushu.
Yeah, Kung Fu is Chinwu.
Yeah.
Chinwu Athletics Association.
Right.
So it's kind of it's quite a famous martial art, because it was basically when China was being pushed down with all their kind of like culture and stuff.
Right.
And then like the Chinwu Athletics Association sort of like gathered teachers from different parts and was like, look, everyone was like very secretive with their styles, but it was like dying out because martial arts was being sort of like made illegal to practice and all that kind of stuff. So
do you think that was one of the reasons why they make it look like more like almost not a dance but like a performance instead of actually that's a martial art?
A lot of countries that have had similar things like capoeira. So
just about
there's like loads of hidden martial arts in dance
right,
and stuff
right,
like that. But they were like, right, we got to come together and make something, you know. So there's like loads, all the like almost every famous martial artist is played either the teacher Hoyon Jia or the student Chen Zhen.
Yeah.
But Chen Zhen's actually the fictional character, I believe. But he was basically based as one of the leading head students.
Right. So I did Kung Fu for about 2 years, like which was traditional Shaolin Kung Fu.
Yep.
You came to our class, I think, a couple of times as well. And so that is Kung Fu translation is something like work hard or something?
Yeah, it's like hard work. Yeah.
Hard work, right. And then can you tell, again, to people who don't know much about it and also maybe to refresh my kind of knowledge about it. So what is the main difference between Kung Fu and Wushu, and how did Wushu came across later after Kung Fu?
Yeah, so
right?
like Wushu means like martial arts basically. But as we know it, Wushu is like the higher end of it, basically like the higher end performance, where basically naturally your progression from like, you know, foundation to advance, it's the progression of like getting better, and then obviously the performance with the forms and things like that.
Right, so it's like Wushu is like a black belt of Kung Fu kind of thing. It's like a next level, or just more specific kind of direction.
It's very specific performance based.
There you go.
So
Nice.
like the jumps and the movements and you know, that kind of stuff. Where Kung Fu is like real application, and you know, obviously it's like the spectrum is endless.
It's
really.
huge.
Yeah, it's
but
huge,
one of the main things, I think, one of the main differences is that Kung Fu has Sanda, which is part of Kung Fu.
Sanshao, yeah.
And how do you say it?
Sanshao.
Sanshao.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought Sando.
Yeah. Sandao, you can say that.
Yeah,
Sanshao
because that's a proper fight, like proper kumite or proper sparring,
Yeah,
where
Chinese
they beat the
kickboxing.
shit out of each
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
And Wushu don't have that kind of stuff.
They
Wushu
don't
is
have, yeah.
only performing, doing cool moves and all that stuff. So if someone on the street tells you that they train Kung Fu, you should be more careful with them than someone who says, "Oh, I'm a Wushu master."
Yeah.
Wushu master just gonna fly around and
Yeah.
stuff. You're like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I had, by the way, one of my guests was Steven. Steve, his nickname is Steve Wushu. He's like
Steve Coleman.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like 41, 42. He's the oldest, still like a champion, whatever, in that martial art. He's a really cool dude. He just sat right in there. So he was, one of the things he said, I hate to, when I go to East London Gymnastics, I see people doing B-twists, but they can't even do proper butterfly kicks. Like, you don't do B-twist before you do that. I'm like, that was his take. Okay, so Kung Fu, and then for 10 solid years to the age of, like, that's probably like 20 something, 20.
Like 25. So basically, I traveled quite a bit. So I went to China for a year. So I didn't stop training martial arts, but I sort of just took a break, I guess, from going to my classes regular, just because I was away. But even that, I was like, Master Lee, I'm going to China.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Good boy, good boy.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
My
So,
favorite was
the honor was still there.
in my class was usually I was going. He comes like, "Hey boy, too tense, too much muscle, no speed," and he goes and slaps me on the bicep. He's like, too much muscle. It's like, damn it. And he called me boy the whole time.
Yeah.
He never called me name, nothing.
Yeah.
It's just 2 years I was boy. I love it, those guys.
They have good ways around them.
Yeah. Okay, so Kung Fu till that time. So now there's a stunts kind of start lurking in. Then you was finishing your high school. Did you ever went for college and university?
A college dropout. So basically, I was going to do a business degree.
Hey, welcome to the shitty club.
And then I was like already like what I wanted to do with that degree. I was sort of already doing with my training partners,
Right.
like best friends. Basically, I was like, this is like, and I was getting like booked for shows and that kind of stuff, and that's what I wanted to do. So I was kind of like, this is kind of like I'm working backwards here. Like I'm already doing what I'm doing. And I was getting, like, getting shows regularly. So it was building up, and I was like, I got to just put my energy into this.
Yeah.
I don't need this,
Exactly. Am I correct if I say your two best friends was Rashid and Karanja?
Yes.
Hey, shout out to those guys. Yeah, those are like also two crazy.
You should have them on.
Yeah, I should. I'm not sure about Karanja. He's just too out there.
No, he's
No,
alright.
just kidding. No, all of them are awesome. And funny enough, like I met Karanja before even like thinking about stunts, whatever. I was used to go to Gymnastics East London, and I used to work in a club as a dancer, and I would get on the bus at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and Karanja would get on the same bus. We're catching the same bus going back to the to East London. Yeah, so you perform with them, and you're like, okay, what's the point to do this business degree if I'm making cash and figuring out myself? Because like I spent about 7 years in uni, 4 years bachelor, 2.5 years masters. I want to say waste of time, but I don't.
It's an experience. Everything's an experience.
One of the greatest things I think for me was that just camaraderie, building relationships. Oh, finally that car left. That's great. The meeting people. Creating the network. I think that was great. So how many years did you do the business then?
I want to say from like this whole time, like since the 17, from doing that first show in India for Sony Ericsson, there was always like little
things
like
going
the
on.
jobs kept coming in, and like traveling here, there, and everywhere. Sort of living, I suppose, like closer to like a sort of dancer's life. Just getting booked for shows, and was doing like corporate events. So during that whole time, I was still obviously training and wanting to improve. You
guys were performing together, and then when did the whole thing became like, let's be stuntman? How to do this, and do we need BSR, and how did BSR came across? Which is British Stunt Register for people who don't know.
Like the dream obviously was always to be like action movie stars. It wasn't like just to be stuntman or so we all shared that passion, and it was actually Rashid who sort of came to us and was like, look guys, there's this thing, like, and then sort of like jumped on his coattails and like, man, I'll do that, yeah, cool. And then reading the syllabus was like, oh, I've already got that.
Nice.
And then just sort of train the rest.
Because you got the gymnastics, you got the trampolining, pretty sure.
Gymnastics, trampolining, martial arts was...
Yeah, that's three
much. Still had to do a bit of... Because I wasn't like trained classically as a gymnast. It was just sort of like freestyle gymnastics.
Yeah. And that was enough.
So like just having to learn the extra little things like the pummel and the rings.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. And then scuba diving, which was cool. Just
a vacation.
Yeah, basically. Obviously you learn cool stuff. The cheapest way was just go Thailand, do it there. I was like, sounds amazing.
You know what's even cheaper? Stay in the UK and just get a swimming pass and swim every day. Because I couldn't even afford. We're surrounded by some war zone around here. What's going on? I love it. There was rain, there was this loud car, and now there's a freaking chopper. That's Tom Cruise probably. He's going back to studio.
Oh boy.
Hey. And where was I? So because I couldn't afford even the scuba diving. I was that broke. And I was like, okay, because it would cost around $3,000 or something like that. Okay, so you did scuba diving, and then 2 more?
So high diving, and swimming.
And swimming.
So,
How
yeah,
did? Oh, dude,
cheap.
respect, man. Like that you did swimming. I mean,
Yeah.
with your torso, with those shoulders. But did you struggle?
So basically, I literally, I was quite proud because I didn't do swimming when I was little, but
Same thing, yeah.
I was confident to swim like long distances and things like that in the ocean. Like it was no problem, but actual swimming was like, it was like Jesus. You
Yeah.
know, it's like if you ask someone to sprint 100 meters and you're like, you got to do it in 10 seconds, and then you've done it in 20, you're like, you got to just cut it down.
And you're 6 feet.
I'm 6'1.5".
6'1.5".
Yeah.
And I am 5 and a hat. And I need to compete with this guy. Like my swimming was horrible. I was just sinking. Did you find high diving fun?
High diving was fun.
So much fun.
Yeah, so fun. But we got like when we got there, it was like, oh my god, this is fucking, it's high.
10
But
meters. Yeah.
You kind of just get pushed, and like was with people that were like super close to doing their test. So it was kind of
that's
just
perfect.
do it with your mates and just
I was doing it when Tom Daly was training. I was in a freaking thing. So he goes up, does a perfect triple front flip entrance, like you can't even hear it. Then I go do a shitty Barani or whatever, just splash everywhere. And you just see Tom just like looking at me like... But there was a point where like I remember this one day, all these stunties are falling these horrible jumps, whatever. I'm not kidding you, like all the pro divers were just sitting in a corner eating popcorn and just laughing, and it was like, oh shit, oh, did you see that? That was fun for them.
Yeah, that was a good experience.
And then so you qualified for BSR at what age?
25.
25. And now you're
35.
35.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
decade.
Yeah.
Another one, yeah. That's awesome, man. Well done. Congratulations. But only 10 years. So you were on register only 2 years before me.
I think so.
Because for me, it's almost 8 years now.
I think I got on 2011 or 12.
Or 12. Oh, okay. I got it
Maybe
2015.
11, yeah.
Yeah, so 3 years. 3-4 years. Okay. But even before getting on BSR, you already had quite a big list of things done.
I was already like show ready, like, confident and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. And I looked up your IMDb about as a stuntman. You probably don't even put all the credits.
No, I don't really.
You just kind of like, what's the point? Because I looked up, you done like literally 50% more than I've done. But in the same time, you probably done like longer periods on the same film. I'll go like do 2 days in a movie and like, hey, I got the credit. And then Erol does like 4 months of work. I got 1 credit. But yeah, how is I don't know, do you want to jump in acting? I want to jump in acting. How is that going? Because like, since as far as I understand, you got these little parts as a stunt performer, and that is very handy for productions to have someone who can do stunts and fighting and can do some of the acting.
Definitely sort of got lost in the stunt world, obviously, because it's incredible opportunities, and you're like, it's so close to like acting in terms of like, the biggest actors. You're constantly working with like the top actors in the world. Yeah. And you got to like fight them and let them punch you in the face. And, all that kind of thing.
They punch me in the face. Yeah. That is so cool.
So obviously that journey, like the journey's been absolutely incredible. So I love what the stunt world has given me. But yeah, definitely now I'm like, sort of 10 years have gone and I've got like little roles here and there, and it's time to sort of like start pushing the acting for sure. So I'm taking like bigger steps towards that now.
I'm guessing you're doing some acting training and stuff.
To be honest, like I definitely need to.
I'm really thinking about it.
But every casting that I've gone to, I've either been like booked or been called back in. And then what happens a lot is, I'll get booked and I'm like, oh, cool, you're booked, and then I'll get booked for stunts, and I'm like,
that's
so
the one.
You've got to make the choice, and sometimes you have to sacrifice what you are to what you're going to become. So for me, I'm definitely going to try and take like less core jobs if that's possible. You got to just take control of your life.
Because I think one of the toughest ones is that in stunt world, first of all, the money is there, you know exactly how much you're going to make, and like for a longer period of time. And acting, you're kind of a beginner actor, right? So to go as a beginner actor, like the days are not that long, the money is not that good, and it's almost like you have a month of stunt work versus a week of acting,
Yeah.
and then you like, and you have family, you have
Yeah,
responsibilities, so you have to really think about making those sacrifices.
Yeah, you know, you have to, you know, take, like I said, like take control of your life. It's like, what do you want to be, and just go for it, you know. So I'm fortunate enough where I am in quite demand, I'd say. So like,
Quite demand.
so I get called like quite a lot, and so I've got like a good network.
When people call you, do they like, I'm pretty sure you're busy, but still just wanted to check?
Yeah, I mean, to be like the like the TV and, you know, a couple of days here, I love that. You know, I think like every stunty that's
the best.
in core, they love that. That's what they
for
want now.
listeners to understand the comparison. So when the stunt performer gets a core job, that means on a core team, and they're there like literally from the beginning till the end of the project, and it can be 2-3 months of work, and
or 6 or 7.
Yeah. Oh, geez, I haven't been on those. And then it's basically gets to the point where it's kind of a bit boring and tedious because it's the same thing over and over and not much going on. But then when we get like TV jobs, like only a couple of days, it's full actions, a lot of fun, and then you can move on and do some other stuff. So it's like that's the main difference. And then there are some stunt guys actually who take only TV jobs. They don't even go for bigger jobs.
Living the dream there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with TV as well is like, you know, you're always doing something. You can be on a film for the whole run really and not do any stunts. You might rehearse it, you might, you know, prep it, and then on the day it'll be someone else that comes in, you just pat them on the back like, you go for it, man. You've made it all safe for them, and they come and just...
Yeah, you mainly there just in case. You know, when I was doubling Ray Park, he did everything. He did all the fights, everything, and then there was this gnarly fall on the neck. He's like, you go do that. Like, oh, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a trade-off as well, and like, everyone wants the big credits, you know, like Mission Impossible and you know, Bonds, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a trade-off, I think.
Yeah,
it's nice to do both.
Yeah,
I always appreciate the calls and things like that. So when anyone calls me, I'm like, you know, I always appreciate the call, and super grateful for that.
Yeah, and it's a very tough one. It's like to make those choices, because that one time when you turn down this little acting job, that could be the one.
Yeah,
you know,
it's true.
That's a tough one. I wanna what's the word when someone show off? No, when it gloats about stuff. I just did a film with Scott Adkins.
Yeah,
I was acting and fighting.
Oh, respect.
It was sick little fighting scene.
Was you Russian by any chance?
Yeah, no shit. No, I was Ismail. Oh, sorry. Why my head? Sorry. My name was Mirko, and I was playing a Serbian concierge.
Oh, nice.
Hello, my friends. yeah, you guessed it. You guessed it right. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I think for stunt performers, that's like a dream job when you do have an action fight, and you have lines in between. Yeah. And in this case, it wasn't just like hello or something, just like I kill you and then you get shot. But I actually had like a proper like lines and stuff.
Respect.
But that was really cool, and to get those, that's a lot of fun. And I said a couple of times to Scott Adkins, fuck you, pussy. So that's even better. I just loved it. And then after take, I was just like, I couldn't believe I just said that to him. Yes. Probably you've done like 100 movies, I'm pretty sure, if like you don't write down all of them. But can we talk about something what you think was really like challenging, very kind of memorable experience in those 10 years of doing stunts? I'm guessing one of the biggest ones probably the Game of Thrones, probably sitting in that chair and getting that prosthetics and makeup, the best. Yeah. And how was, from practical perspective, how was it for you to move and do stuff while you have that thing on your face?
It was like the prosthetics, once it's on, it's like, it's cool. But it's just like, if you have to move around in the studios and it's hot, it's the worst. Luckily, we was freezing cold most of the time, so we don't have to worry about the heat. But it's just like, you know, if you're claustrophobic, it's definitely not for you. You know, like your whole face, everything's like covered. And yeah, just like, again, it was, at first I was like, yeah, it's cool, it's fine.
And then you have to do this every day.
Do it every day. Obviously, like the team was amazing. Obviously, like, you know, they were amazing. So they were like spot on, and obviously you're there to do your job as well, and the opportunity is good. So you just crack on and find.
How many hours did it take?
4 hours.
Every day.
I think that's what they got it down to. I think we started maybe 5 hours, but then it kind of got down to about.
And de-rigging?
De-rigging is like an hour. It's ripping it off, but just getting it it's like the glue and the hair.
And what was the main things? How did you pass your time? Did you read a book? Listen?
No,
what did you
just
do?
sleep, man. Like you're up at like 2 a.m. to sit in the chair at like 3 or something.
You literally fall asleep.
And you have like the craziest dreams. Like
I love that.
Yeah, and they the guys, the prosthetics guys, they're used to it. Obviously, So you're on this chair and you're just.
Did they give you some kind of like a neck support or something so you can actually sleep? Oh,
there was like 1 or 2 chairs that didn't have the neck support, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, we didn't get the thing." And so you would do that once in a while. And, "Oh, sorry, guys, got paint on your face or whatever."
Oh my god! And this is what people don't know. I didn't even know that. Like I never got prosthetics so vast and so. Is that the most complex prosthetics you ever had?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because it wasn't just the prosthetics guys. It was like, so the prosthetics guys, they put on all the like silicone and all that kind of stuff, the hands. Then they'll pass you over to the hair guys, so all the wigs, the eyebrows, the beards. Then you got the contacts, which is another department. Then you got costume, which is another department.
How was your eyes with contacts? Were okay?
Mine were okay, but yeah, they like get sore because they had like the big round one, so it's like covers your whole eye. So it's like someone trying to it was.
And you don't wear glasses or contacts, so no freaking experience with that shit.
So it was a bit like
I tried once. I got like the cheap, shitty ones, like on this Halloween thing. My eyes were dying. I was I was tearing up. Didn't like that at all.
And so you got to have so much patience. Like you got to really have patience. There's always someone like pulling you this way or whatever. Around. But yeah, they take care of you.
How many days altogether did you do in that character?
I don't even know. So I did from season 5 to season 8. So I don't even know.
You bought a house for that money, did you?
Yeah, basically. Very thankful.
Castle.
Shout out to Rowley. Really.
Hey, shout out to Rowley. Yeah, Rowley's the stunt coordinator for Game of Thrones. Was. Are they going to do more? Can we talk about it? I don't know.
Game of Thrones is done now, but House of Dragon.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
How different? I haven't seen it. How different is it?
It's the prequel before it, so it's not as like zombies and all that kind of stuff. Okay. But it's still like dragons and fire and cool stuff.
I can share with how much I've seen Game of Thrones. I would on YouTube I'll write Khaleesi scenes. I watch all those. But yeah, the brutality of that TV series was pretty cool. I think my favorite one was that big guy sat on the little guy and crushed his skull. The mountain. Yeah. Were you there? Did you see it? Or that was a different scene?
Loads of like it all meshes into one now.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
It's a nasty way to go.
Not for him, probably. Okay, so that's Game of Thrones. Any other ones where you thought like, wow, that's really cool?
Like obviously the first Bond was like crazy. Yeah. So I got flown out to Mexico. I was like, this is Hollywood right now. So flown out to Mexico. Didn't know what I was going to be doing. So then I'm like in this cool suit. I'm like, this is cool.
First time wearing a suit. That's awesome.
I dress up once in a while. So go out to Mexico, and then it's like a massive scene, just the intro and everything. Like thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of extras.
Excuse me, supporting actors. Supporting
SAs, yes, sorry. And then they're like, you're going to be in the helicopter. So I was like, what? So basically, like, I'm playing like a guard who, like the main boss has come in and he's like, he needs backup, and he's trying to get out of the city or whatever, somewhere safe. Bond's chasing him down, and so I come in the helicopter, and the crowd like separate, and I come down, touchdown, get him in the helicopter, and then just get knocked out by Bond. Yeah. So I was like, this is crazy. So they had the pilot who's like the #1 Red Bull pilot, Chuck Aaron, his name is, and so I've gone in there and he's like, yeah, cool, how you doing, buddy? Like American guy, he's from Texas, so super like big personality. And yeah, we're just like flying around Mexico City, and he's just like, yeah, well, check this thing.
Was that your first time on a helicopter?
First time in the helicopter.
Oh shit, that's
the
the
doors
best.
are open, you know,
That's
like
the
I got
best.
like a little strop to hold on to. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is crazy.
And that was your like how long ago was this?
So that was Spectre. So
Yeah.
I don't know, it must be like 6-7 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe.
So you already been on Reg for like 3-4 years.
Yeah. So
So you're already quite
so I know,
experienced
yeah.
performer. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would be cool if that would be one of your first jobs.
Oh yeah, that would be
shit.
crazy. Yeah. But that was a really good experience.
You had long curly hair. I mean, your hair gets curly naturally. So it was your hair. It was not like wigs or anything like that.
No.
Yeah.
I had short hair by then anyway. So I kind of, I think it was on Thor 2, which was like my first film, my first big film for like a long run. I had braids back then, sort of like coming out of the dancer sort of shows and all that kind of stuff. And then halfway through, I was like, just cut them off.
Yeah. No, nice. I remember that scene. I remember that I watched it. I was like, did I already meet you before that? But it was very memorable performance. I like when you just mentioned about dancing stuff. Like, where is this? Oh, here it is.
Hey.
Oh, here it is.
Style of dance called tutting.
Yeah, that's you and Rashid.
Yeah, you can see the braids.
Yeah. And this is how long ago?
This is like maybe, I must say 12, 13, no, it's got to be even more, maybe 14, 15 years ago now.
Oh, okay. So this is before even the stunt register. Yeah, cool stuff. So then dancing for you, I mean, like, what I noticed, there's a common pattern, and I can relate to myself, also someone who comes from like dancing background. It's so much easier to do stuff in stunts, especially putting choreographies together, and it's memorizing the moves, memorizing the beats, memorizing the pauses, timing. It just helps so much. So dancing for you was always just like a little hobby, or then obviously you did shows. So
I mean, I was never like drawn to dance, and I wasn't ever like a really good dancer or anything like that. But luckily, like the people I was around and the opportunities I got for being able to flip and things like that. So basically, my dance training was like free, so I could just rock up to the studio and just jump in with the classes and stuff. And there's a lady called Tamara. And she runs Studio 68, I think.
All right, yeah, 68.
Yeah,
it's very, very famous studio in London.
Yeah, I used to teach there for a little while I was doing stunts as well, just to give back, I suppose.
Nice. What did you teach?
So like sort of martial arts, acrobatics, that kind of stuff. You know, every dancer wants to flip, right?
Yeah. Or so, like just doing like a butterfly kick. It's like nice, beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you just need to learn the technique and stuff.
Yeah. So through being able to trick very well and do all the flips, she was like, "Oh, if you guys want to come and teach our guys, and then you can join in with the classes and stuff." So I was like, "Yeah, that'd be cool." And then I think it was like they would do 3 classes a day, so an hour each class, and then we'll teach for an hour or however long our time slot was. So we was like, right, let's just do it.
Perfect.
And then and then sort of just jumped in the deep end, and as soon as you can do a little bit of dancing and with flips, everyone thinks, "Oh my god, it's amazing!"
Yeah. Good, great combo.
Yeah, so it's sort of blagged that for as long as I could, really.
That's great. One of the interesting things is like it's difficult to find a combo that someone can be good dancer and good in acrobatics. And I remember I went to see the Michael Jackson's Thriller, the musical.
Yeah.
It was so funny to see there were 2 guys who were good trickers. They were shit dancers. It was, and they just really stand out like a sore thumbs. Like, oh my god, everyone else just expressive. And they're like, but obviously that's not your case. Your dancing is beautiful. Before we finish the first half, one more very memorable thing from stunts.
I mean, there's so many.
So many. So difficult.
Yeah. I think one of the ones, again, like Game of Thrones is like quite a big chunk of my experience, but like seeing someone on fire for the first time was like very like surreal.
Right.
just like with the acting and stuff, like obviously they're always going to put the more experienced stunt guys on fire because if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. And just seeing that for the first time and thinking, oh my God, do I even want to do this? And then seeing like how it all was, orchestrated again by Rowley. Yeah. Super chill, like super safe. And just seeing that was like, whoa, this is serious shit.
Yeah. Fire is my favorite. You get all the attention. You get all the attention in the world. But then there's so much pressure on you. Like if you fuck it up, one of the jobs I had to do was like to flip on a barbecue, flip over, and then I'm set on fire. And I had a choreography. I need to get against one wall, against the other wall. I couldn't see shit, so I was just like couldn't touch and whatever. Man, and on video, it looks so like kind of random and stuff, but like coordinated like that looks perfect because you don't know what you're doing. So. But it is quite a lot of pressure.
It is. And again, behind the scenes, people don't realize that most of the time, the prep into it, like with the fire gel and stuff, you're freezing. So the whole time you're like freezing cold, just like wanting to get on with it.
That's awesome that you mentioned that because that's a misconception. Usually people, were you warm? Were you hot? I was freezing my balls off. But they're doing a little bit different now. They kind of do this different layers. Like they put the dry layer, then wet layer, and then so you can do different. But the old school, I think, was proper. Like you need to wet layers everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, again, it depends how big the fire is. But
true.
People have their own ways of doing it. But generally, you would have like 2 layers of we call it underwear, like Nomex or Carbonex, which is like fireproof and everything. And then some people now have like waterproof layer as well, just to keep you from not freezing. Because sometimes you can wait like up to 45 minutes. You think, okay, get ready. It takes half an hour.
Waterproof layer? You mean like the wetsuit? Some people put wetsuits on as well.
I've used wetsuits before as well. But you can put like a layer of like waterproof over like one layer of Carbonex or something. Something like that. You know what I mean?
Crazy combos. And then you put on top of it, you even put also racing suit.
Racing
then you're just like a walking Michelin man.
Basically.
Nice one. Okay, let's have a little break and we're going to be back shortly. Just off record, we're just talking about, Erol was asking me about when I'm going to go back to Bali. And I need to make some cash and then I go back to Bali. But mainly I go for winter and I was saying that it's just too hot there. So you mentioned about your dad that he might be moving to Bali and stuff.
Yeah. He's basically his company is like a fuel additive.
Oh, okay.
So basically, like it cuts the emissions super low, and it improves the performance of your cars, and it also cleans the engine. So it's like a super.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's basically like steroids for your car, basically.
And that's then he would try to do this business in Bali as like in there, or just he would be based there and dealing with other
basically
like
stuff. Based there to like around Asia, basically, because the government over here, they obviously want us all to go.
Well, in Bali there's just scooters mainly. But
I mean, there's many green alternatives to fuel. And
they're getting more electrical scooters, by the way.
Even electric isn't like the best. It's not really green either, just offsetting your carbon. So
that's so your dad, he was the the reason you got into martial arts and you were exposed to them. So what did he do? What kind of martial arts he do?
So he done 2, one called Kuk Su One.
Never heard of it. Say it again.
Kuk Su One.
Kuk Su One.
Yeah.
Sounds like cooking show. Sorry.
Yeah. And I think Kuk Su One is basically it's a Korean style with like, so you got Hapkido, Taekwondo, various Taekwondo Korean styles. So it's basically like an array of all of them into one. He said it's like super aggressive, like a lot of breaks and kind of stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And then he done another style called Senshido, which is a Japanese style.
Right.
So it's like a little bit more like spiritual, flowy kind of stuff.
It's very interesting when you hear about these kind of martial arts who are like devastating and like just destroy other person. But when there's a MMA, UFC, whatever, they very rarely they talk about, oh yeah, he's doing this crazy super cool martial art. It's mainly like the Muay Thai, boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, BJJ,
striking, more than that,
and then it's an interesting one, but it's not some it's not always about bringing devastating force to someone's face. It's so much more. That can be meditation and just finding peace, and it's
And then I think with the misconception with martial arts, with people are like, oh, that doesn't work. Well, a lot of martial arts is not set up for the ring, so you might not be in a situation where someone, they've got a knife or whatever it is, and whatever technique you believe to work, and obviously you drill that, then it's going to work, So, and all the spectacular knockouts that you see nowadays are always from like Taekwondo practitioners or Kung Fu practitioners, So it's not necessarily like, oh, that doesn't work, this doesn't work. It's just if you've trained it well enough to work for you,
Yeah, it's not about the martial art, it's about the performer.
Yeah, but if you want to just generally get the gist of, beating someone up, then of course like Muay Thai and jiu-jitsu and all those kind of like boxing, they're striking specific.
Beating someone up, I don't know how
It's great.
comfortable you're feeling about talking. Like you told me the story when last year when we worked on The Witcher that you almost got mugged on the bike.
On many occasions. Yeah.
It's insane.
It's definitely.
As long as I wish they would know who they're mugging. They probably would not.
Yeah, it's like obviously when it happens, like growing up, being attempted to be mugged many times, and I got sucker punched on the bus one time. So my journey to Kung Fu from like North London to Golders Green was just sort of still kind of North London, I guess, but it takes like 45 minutes to get there at least. Running to the bus, and if I miss that bus, then I have to run to the next bus stop with all my swords and everything. Yeah. So just like experiences, like you go through different areas, and obviously you're always on the top deck, and sometimes there's no one around, getting back late. So people always trying to mug me or intimidate me or whatever.
But you're a big guy. Like, why would they do that? If I would say you were like my height, not my size, obviously, but my height, or like, but you're a big fucking guy. Like, your frame is insane. Like, I don't know.
Well, it's very
because you used to be very skinny.
Very skinny, before like weight training, and I changed my style of training a little bit. But yeah, so like people, I got sucker punched, and that like really fueled me. So basically, I was trying to catch a nap, had my music on, and then this guy just like sort of pushed me, and I was like, "What?" "What?" Took my headphones out, bam, sucker punched me, and I was like super confused. I thought, maybe he thinks I'm someone else or something. So I was like, "What are you doing, man?" And then again, bam, straight away, I was like, "Oh, fucking hell." And then he just sort of like leant over me and was like, "Give me your phone." And I was just like, "Oh shit, I'm getting mugged." And then I was like, "What, should I try and do something or whatever?" And then by the time I thought about it, like he said he was going to stab me, but who knows if he had something in his pocket. It could have been whatever, but I was like, is it worth the risk? And by the time you start thinking, it's like, cool. So I gave him my phone. He got off the bus, and then the next stop, I was just like, cut my lip pretty bad, done the spit of blood. I was like, right, that's it. Got off the bus at the next stop, and then I was literally like marching down trying to find him, and then the police saw me, and they're like, whoa, like I already had black eye, blooded lip and stuff, and then they were like, oh, whoa, what's going on, buddy? I was like, just like basically I've been mugged. So this guy just sucker punched me, and I was like, all right, jump in the car. So then jumped in the car. They sort of drove around a little bit, and then they're like, oh look, he's probably gone, but like we'll take a statement from you, whatever. So I was like, all right, whatever. I was more pissed because I was missing my session as well. I was like, so I got back to the police station, like, look, just go through like these faces that we have on file, and then if you recognise anyone, say, found the guy.
No.
I was like, yeah, that is the guy. So then like, all right, cool. So then obviously I went, and then they like called me back like a couple of weeks later, said, we found the guy. He's on record for this, whatever. And then the guy got like 8 months in prison
for that for sucker
yeah.
punch you.
Yeah, so I was like, justice, I guess.
Well, but it's a mugging,
like,
obviously. It can be wow.
Yeah.
Well, at the end, this story feels like it ended well, I guess.
I suppose, yeah. I felt like, maybe 8 months, but then these sort of experiences affect people, and I always think this now, like now obviously I'm more experienced as like fights and things like that. So when it does happen to me now, there's a zero tolerance kind of thing. 'Cause I think if this was happening to someone else, this could affect their life forever. You know what I mean? So yeah, I rain down justice.
That's huge
nowadays. Yeah, if it happens.
But then I honestly 100% agree that your decision of like, what if he does have a knife?
Yeah,
you know, it's like, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
you know, even if he's not strong or whatever, like pull it out, just slice your face, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
there's no point to risk, whatsoever. And like, oh, I'm a martial artist or something like that.
Yeah, and like again, like just being aware and things like that now. And even now, like when one of my bikes, while I was on it, these guys tried to take it, and the whole time, like again, I had like my music on, I was just chilling. End of the week. And they were like, I literally like got kicked in the back. They were on a 500 or something Honda, and I just get kicked in the back. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I was like, as soon as I took my headphone off, all they were saying was like, stab him. I was like, what?
Jeez.
So when you hear things like that, you know, you're just like, Jesus, what the? Again, I was thinking they must think I'm someone else. The confusion. So ended up dealing with that anyway. It was all good.
What did you do?
Well, so I was on my electric dirt bike, so it wasn't like the fastest. So I tried to get away, but I was just like on a normal kind of road. So I sort of like went in between some parked cars, and then eventually I was like, right, I'm just gonna skid out, and then sort of like get back, because if they wanted to stab me, they could literally just ride up to me at any point, just stab me. So I was like, what's going on? So sort of skidded out the bike and like sort of, you know, gauge my distance and stuff. So one guy jumped off. The other guy was just kept revving his engine, trying to like keep me away with the bike. And then I saw the guy that jumped off trying to get on my bike. And where I broke so hard, the handlebars actually bent forward. Yeah. So where the throttle was, it was like, even if you pull it, it's like
it's really hard.
So he couldn't control the bike, and it was like going all over the place. And then I was like, nah, I'm not letting him take my bike. So managed to get around the guy. They both had helmets, and I just smashed the guy. I didn't even know what I was thinking at the time. Obviously, he's got a helmet. I just smashed him around the head with his helmet. My hand was fine. And then he sort of like stumbled back, and then the other guy came round, and I was like, right, come on then. And then out from nowhere, like a complete stranger just jumped up behind me. He was like, come on then. We both started swearing and like, come on, you can't. So like, blah, blah, yeah, come on. And then, so they shut themselves, and they just rode off. And then basically it was the guy's house. He's heard the fiasco. So he's just jumped, like come out and helped me. I was like, mate, you know, so there's good people out
Samaritan
there.
right there, man.
Not all heroes
That's
wear
awesome.
capes, yeah. But that was like just one scenario of many.
I can say like I've been very, very lucky then. I mean, like I've been riding bikes from East London to how many times to the studios and stuff, and just thinking about also you sitting in the red light and someone just comes over on a scooter or whatever. Yeah. But like this, it's just, I mean, you know, they can come from desperate backgrounds or whatever, but it just does not.
Yeah, it's not right,
especially when they go like with knives and stuff. It's like,
yeah, it's just not cool.
And in London is getting crazier and crazier. Like, what do you hear? Is it getting a little bit better now? It's still
like
pretty bad.
Knife crime is up quite a lot. So all those kind of things, man. It's like you obviously don't want to take the risk, but you got to assess the situation, know yourself, and sort of just do, you know, is it worth it? And you know,
one of the things what I'm very surprised is, well, it kind of makes sense, but like things like why there's not allowed to have a pepper spray, that a pepper spray is illegal, but the argument is that what if it's gonna get to the baddies? So baddies gonna have handle of it. But then shouldn't you have some kind of like in States, for example, when they give guns to anyone, but what if you like would do a proper procedure of who would get a pepper spray, let's say?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Makes sense.
And it's like, especially for women. I had a friend of mine, she's a Canadian, she's been in the UK for a long time now, and she would say how many times she feels like someone is following her or like someone actually followed her. And she's like, Renars, what do I do? Like, I can't buy pepper spray. I can't. And I came up with the idea to get something like what looks more like a knuckle duster. Yeah. And like I said, like you can use that one maybe and whatever. But she has to punch. Like if you don't know how to punch.
Yeah, it's such a, like anyone that's been mugged, it's that, you know, adrenaline shot. You gotta like control that. in fear. That's what I'm saying.
Shock.
Like, it's any situation where someone mugs you, it could change your life forever.
It's crazy.
People like get PTSD and they stay inside all the time. So for me, like anytime situations like that arise, I try to deal with it, as best as I can. But if I have to beat the shit out of someone for justice, I'm happy to do that.
But you're like one of the most like athletic specimens I know of. Like but it's a huge difference. And you're not only like fighting in the movies, you've like done TKD competitions, you've done proper like fights and all that. But think about like these tiny women just walking from the train to the pepper spray is literally the only thing I can think of. It's again, if you're lucky and there's a distance and you can do. What if someone just comes from behind you like?
Yeah, maybe a taser.
I got nothing. And the only thing in UK they have a rape alarm. So great, it's gonna beat nice. And the other one was the spray color spray. Yeah, it's you basically paint. You get the paint on them.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's like when they rob the bank and they open the. I'm like, what is that gonna do? That's the point where I got kind of frustrated with that.
That's why
stuff.
everyone needs to learn martial arts.
Oh, I got a naughty idea in my head. Just a moment. You know how if you want to have a good business in a car shop, you just make sure that there's a lot of potholes everywhere. Mm-hmm. So if you want to open nice martial art gym, so you make sure there's a lot of knife crime around. Oh no, I didn't go there. And this somehow lead us to talk about veganism. Yes. Very good segue. So one of the first things what I kind of noticed in the show was like, wow, this is interesting. So Rashid is also vegan, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you and Rashid, not Karanj.
Yeah,
Karanj as well.
Yeah.
So all three of you, when did you all together kind of became the vegan?
No. So we all had a different journey into martial arts. We mainly trained together in Kung Fu in China. But if we weren't going to the same martial arts schools or anything like that. It was mainly just the tricking where we would come together and obviously shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And we was both we're all from different parts of London, north, east, south. So that's the little trinity.
Yeah.
So I think Rashid was like the first. His mother is like vegan and she's into the whole spiritual thing as well, which is cool. So he had a good teacher there. And for me, it was after China, sort of getting more into Buddhist philosophies. Obviously, the Buddhist philosophy is like to go vegetarian and sort of live a life where you don't harm. So that kind of appealed to me. And then once I started to do my research into it, and I was like, yeah, Jesus, like,
makes sense.
What's going on in the world with the meat industry is it's diabolical. So I was like, I don't want to be a part of that. So I was like, let me see how this goes. So eventually, at first I was pescatarian for a year, and I was vegetarian for a year, and then when I went to Thailand to do my scuba, that's where I was like, right, I'm gonna do the whole vegan thing. So
you've been vegan for like 10 good years?
Coming up to 13 years now.
13 years. Yeah. Whoa.
So quite a while. When it was really difficult as well. And then I was like, that's it for me. I was like, if I can thrive and do what I need to do, train as much as I want to train and improve without harming anything, then why not?
So for me, one of the main the curiosity questions is because I heard so many different, there's so many different thoughts or school of thoughts. And the number one, for example, when vegans say like, well, I don't want to harm anything, right?
Yeah.
So, but you heard that argument about, you'd still harm so many different living creatures and whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't really put like the cow and that pig in this horrible environment and like literally do all this. Is when we're talking about the huge industrial farms, which is and I'm totally against that. Yeah. Obviously, someone who grew up in a farm, like have your animals there, and you have this love towards them. And for me, it was as a kid, I was like struggled with the concept when my dad would say like, yeah, we love this little piggy, but it's gonna grow up, and then we're gonna kill it, and we're gonna eat it. But then he explained like it's a circle of life. This is how we live. So we take it, we give it, and that kind of makes sense to me, and so. But the problem is, when those massive farms and like how those animals get treated. What is your opinion about if someone lives their life, like, as I said, like if you have your farm, you have those animals, you treat them and all that, on a level of like accepting or not accepting?
Like for me, I'm not judgmental. Everyone's got to do what they feel is right for them, and I'm not opposed to the thought of people aren't meant to eat meat or whatever. I think the best way for me would be for game. So if like you go out, you hunt, and then that deer or whatever animal it is, that's like supplies your meat for the year basically.
So you agree to Joe Rogan's concept?
Yeah. I think like that's the closest I could sort of accept. And I know like obviously farming and that sort of agriculture has been around for like since the dawn of time. Pretty much. So I'm not opposed to that, but for me now, I'm like, well, I'm obviously thriving, and I've got enough energy and all the good stuff. So there's no need to sort of look into it.
No, makes sense, and again, like for different folks, different strokes, and that idea for you it works, for me it doesn't work. But also the other thing with veganism is that a lot of people throw, like in Latvian we have this expression, we throw the gun in the bush too quick without doing proper research, understanding, like so when you on daily basis when you eat, what about all the supplements and vitamins and all the things what you're supposed to have in meat and you don't have in vegan food or in vegetables and stuff? How do you? Well,
supposedly, right?
No. That's the thing. I don't know enough. So can you enlighten me in that area?
Well, whatever. Even if you do eat meat, it's like balanced diet, right?
Yeah.
That's the gold standard, which you want to go by, getting your fats in, your proteins, your aminos, all that kind of stuff. So really, there's not a lot that you can't get from plants because the animals, they're eating the plant, and that's how they're getting their nutrients. So it kind of like, it's almost like a filter, secondhand sort of nutrients, in a way, if you want to simplify it. So all the nutrients and minerals and all that kind of stuff, you just get from plants. You just got to do a bit of research.
Right. So you don't take extra like supplements, any of that?
So recently
fish
I've
oils
started
and
to...
stuff?
No, fish oil, obviously.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I've been taking lion's mane.
Okay.
So I've been taking lion's mane, creatine, vitamin E, and that's pretty much it. And protein powders, obviously like vegan ones. But not so much as I need protein to, like to build muscle. I think obviously you do, but not so much as like just to have it as a almost a snack.
Yeah. And when you said vitamin E, there's a specific reason for why vitamin E?
Just because I had a lady who basically done like a reading. It's like an electromagnetic spectrum.
Oh, okay.
And basically she's like, oh, your levels are like really good, but like your vitamin E is like slightly off. So I'm just going with that and seeing what happens. It's
I love that you're here. We can talk about this. Do you know Tom Sheaf? Tom Sheaf was the crazy free runner. He used to come to
Tim Sheaf.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Tim Sheaf. Sorry. Yeah, Tim Sheaf, and then one of his good mates, and he's a very good mate of mine, Chris Lodge. So both of them, they threw the gun in a bush a couple years ago.
A lot of people do.
Yeah, and then I don't know, obviously Tim Sheaf that well because I couldn't remember his first name. I do follow him. I've seen his stuff, and I've seen like these not crazy, like pretty. How to say out there videos of him saying veganism is the best. Look at I have energy, I have hair, and blah blah blah. But Chris I know a little bit better, and then with Chris actually did build my camper van. I had like a little kitchen, and he did that thing. He's amazing. Shout out to Chris Lodge.
Legend.
Hey, my boy.
Yeah.
He became a father a couple of years ago now. Yeah.
I've spoken to them both about when they came off the vegan.
Yes.
Gave him some shit, you know.
Yeah, so I was so excited to see him because we had the meeting before he's going to be doing the last bits and pieces for my van, and then I found out, I saw the post that him and Tim, both of them, like, that's it, stop with veganism.
A lot of people, like, you know.
Yeah, and I was like, what happened? Because I was just like sitting on the edge of my chair, like, what happened? And he, like, just the way he put it, it was like, I just felt like something's wrong. It's like, there's no energy. It feels like I'm inflammation and everything. And it felt like I need that egg, I need that meat. And then as soon as he got back to it, he got, everything was perfectly fine. I don't know Tim's side of the story, but in Bali, I have a friend of mine who's been studying diets for like 25 years. He lived with different tribes and stuff, and like studying those diets. And he literally got to the point where he was actually helping people to cure cancer with the diets and stuff. Yeah. And he's a huge advocate for meat himself. And basically the theory, what he was telling me about, is that it's almost like every person has that certain point where they can be without meat, and then eventually they crush. That's like simplified as possibly can be. And I was like, really, because again, like knowing Karanja, knowing like they're perfect examples who are athletes who do everything, but it was like, how does that make any sense? And then he's like, well, first of all, he said like everyone has a different threshold. So some people would be like, takes years before their body's kind of crushing. But then at the same time, again, like knowing you've done this for years. And then he was saying about also the examples from like in Bali, like these yogis that usually like they advertise the veganism and everything. Yeah, but even some of them would crush and stuff. And I was like, okay, now I have no idea what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, like again, for me, 12 years going, 13 years. Yeah, I've crushed it basically. Yeah, in terms of like breaking foot. Maybe like I said, everyone needs to do what works for them. So it works for me. But I've been at the top of my game for many different sports and stuff. Traveled where it's been difficult, like getting what I need and things like that. But I've always been fine. You look into other, there's so much research out there. Yeah. So often the case is whatever the mind thinks, the body will react. But in terms of like fasting, all the diseases and stuff that we get from food now, like diabetes, you switch that to the vegan diet and you see instant changes within a couple of weeks.
But it's also, in my opinion, and that's what Joe Rogan talks about a lot as well, is like what kind of meat you eat.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so many crappy meats,
and 100%.
And that definitely leads me also to the thing what I want to ask you is about. How do you get these good veggies and good stuff? Because like if you go in a normal store, like that tomato is not a tomato, that cucumber doesn't taste like cucumber. Like, and those things also being they've been using pesticides and all that kind of stuff. How do you find? So do you go to like specifics like free markets, Whole Foods? How do you get your stuff?
There's like where I live, there's loads of like farmers markets and stuff and that kind of stuff. So we try to get what we can from there. Like we still get things from the supermarket, obviously try and get organic, and so it is the quality of food basically. Like there's plenty of unhealthy vegans out there, eating all these mock meats and things like that. People often than not will go to I can't have the meat, like real meat, and they want to go vegan, so they'll just get the mock meat straight away just to replace it.
Sorry, what is mock meat?
It's just like a plant-based meat alternative, basically.
Oh, it kind of tastes like meat, but it's not meat, basically.
Yeah, basically.
And texture is similar and stuff.
Yeah. And some of them are really good now. Like some of it, like you wouldn't know the difference.
Right.
But obviously, you got to like research of like what kind of things are being pumped into them or whatever. So yeah, again, it's like the quality of food that you're eating is going to make a massive difference. So if you don't have enough energy, then it's probably because you're not eating the right things to get enough energy.
So when you had a chat with Tim and Chris, what did they say? Like what?
Well, they're always like straight on the back foot. I've had loads of friends that were vegan, and they're like super like, yeah, vegan, all that kind of stuff. I've never been like a vegan where I'm like, oh, you murderers, all that kind of stuff. I've
No,
always
which
been,
I
like, quiet.
really respect.
Thank
like
you.
I love that about you, that you never like, oh, you do this and you just, oh, sorry guys,
Yeah, and I've
I'm
had
vegan.
I get like in the early days I used to get so much shit from the stunt
Yeah.
guys. I'm just like, I'm like, guys, just
Yeah.
and it was almost just for themselves. But yeah, I've had like loads of friends that are like come and they're eating fish now, and it's like I don't judge them, but I might give them a bit of shit from time to time just for bants. But I think for me it's like this. The reason why I started it is I'm never going to be like, oh, actually, I'll just forget that. All the killing and for the animals is why I did it. So for me, it's like their hearts aren't as strong as what they should be for the reason why they started. So yeah, I just give them I'm not judgmental.
No.
But I think like if you've made a decision, and I don't know why they made their decisions, but for me it was for the animals. I can't like be a part of that.
Yeah.
That culture.
No, but what did they say to you?
Oh, they were just like, oh yeah, man, I needed it because like my energy and all this kind of stuff, and yeah, it was just like a back and forth.
Because I heard Chris's side of it. What I'm very curious about Tim's side, because obviously he was just so vocal and so like out there. And my hair is so strong. Still, it like reminds me a little bit like this guy from Transformers. That young kid. What was his name?
I know you're talking about
Shia LaBeouf, when he's like, "You can do it." That's like Tim Sheev is like, "My hair is so strong, I can do backflip." Tim, I'm not making fun of you, but I just thought it was a bit funny, and then
pretty hilarious when he came out.
And then he just like, that's it. But yeah, it is
If you can't hack
interesting.
it, it's no. Obviously, it's like food is a culture. I'm like Turkish Cypriot. I'm from Cyprus, so like barbecues, all that kind of good stuff. Like my grandparents, like that's part of my culture. So coming away from that, almost like they might have seen like my family like, oh, you're rejecting your culture, that kind of stuff. Yeah. My family were super supportive anyway, but not having certain foods that I like my grand's cooking, or my mum was cooking, all that kind of stuff. So having to take a step back from that and being like, I can't have that anymore, or maybe just once. And I was like, right, if I'm going to make this decision, and I've done the research and saw what happens to these animals. We're basically like the devils to them. They are literally in hell from the time they're born to the time they're killed. Yeah, it's just not nice.
What about eggs? What about like, for example, when chicken lays eggs and there's no rooster, they get not fertilized, and it's just an egg. It's just a source of protein or whatever that is.
Again, like the egg industry, people think that, but like the male chickens, like they get like killed. Like if they're non-productive, so they basically get suffocated.
You see, I see the farm. I was raised on a farm. I know, like, we love those chicken. They like, you have a chat with them.
Was you on a factory farm?
Sorry?
Was you on a factory farm?
Have I been on a factory farm?
No. But was you like? Was that your like? I don't know why. I just imagine.
Oh no, it's a tiny little farm. Like when it's just literally like house we have in the backyard. We have like
traditional farm.
Yeah, traditional. We have like 5-10 chicken, one idiot rooster, and it's like just like a cool. I loved as a kid. That's the thing. Like and obviously I suppose you can agree with this. When you have kids, and I'm guessing you take your kids to like zoos and stuff like, or it's a tough one. Like, where do you get like a real nice because it's so lovely to have that relationship with animals. I remember as a kid, I would talk with chicken. I would teach them how to fly and shit. I would go and talk to the cow, and it's just like, it's such a calming energy from the cow. And like piglets they're so cute when they're little, and like even when they're bigger, it's just like this there is this thing especially kids who grow up in a city, they lack this connection, because animals can teach you empathy. 100%, animals can teach you, like, we used to have 15 goats. That barn used to be a goat barn, and then it became my gym. So we cleaned it. It was my karate gym. It was hilarious. But like, goats are just perfect idea for kids. Like, if you're gonna smack that goat, he's gonna smack you back. And you can't go around to daddy, mommy, and but what did you do? You started, and that teaches you that relationship, that what is basics. You done something to someone, they're gonna do the same thing back to you. You know, I think that is a beautiful part, and it was weird for me as a kid also to see that goat being slaughtered, but it was not presented as like we're doing an evil thing.
Yeah.
It's a part of the circle, and you know.
Well, it's a farm. The farming, like they're trying to. Obviously, the government's trying to get rid of all the farmers and stuff, because it is. If you have a farm, you're independent. You know, so there's that eco relationship. You know, which I understand and I respect. You know, like fishing and things like that. I'm like, I've never really went fishing, but I can see the allure of it, and you know the time spent and the chill.
I grew up with it. It was so
I can,
cool.
You know, I can understand it, and because I've come from a meat eating background up until like probably 22, 23. So I understand. It's not like I used to enjoy steaks and all that kind of stuff. So I totally understand it, but it's just how far you want to take it, really, you know. Because
I think other thing what is a bit confusing is like if there would be done proper kind of tests and researches, and what I'm thinking about is to take almost like, let's say if you and me would be similar body build, similar athletic background, and we do the same things, and me and you eat this type of food for 5 years. I eat this type of food for 5 years, and then we switch around. I eating, and just to compare the data and to actually have a proper data of like what does it do with our bodies? What does it do with my physical performance? What does it do with all these things? Because even I go eat steak just because it kind of like, I feel like it tastes good and I need energy. When I was a kid, I would work in the farm, like literally we would take like strips of meat, like the jerky thing that you can buy in a whatever, but like we made it our own, and you just feel like the energy is coming in your body. If you would put me a bowl of salad, I would be like, it's kind of...
Yeah, it's a different alternative. Like, I mean, you can't be like, I think the main misconception is like you said, like, you'll eat meat and then I'm eating salad, but like I'm still like getting full through different things, you know.
It's so many other things. You
got to do the research to like, as you know, what's gonna fill you up. You know, I can eat like I can put it away basically, but I still need to eat and feel full and satisfied, you know, all those kind of things. The same as a meat eater, you know, but I'm just shoving super high nutrient food in my stomach rather than a dead carcass.
No, because I was vegan for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even know if I felt so much difference, but I was like shitty vegan. I would throw a fish there once in a while, but not like, you know, like one here and there. I don't know.
I think like probably I would say to people, obviously they're always curious and ask me questions, and they're like, I would like to do this, blah, blah. I said, maybe just do like once a week. Once a week, you know, you don't have to eat meat every single meal. You know, things like that. So
definitely,
again, it's just a habit.
Because those who do eat, and also the other thing what you said about like when you become vegan, like your health just improves so much better. But also there's so many gaps in those researches, is that someone who used to eat meat also used to smoke, also used to do all these other horrible habits like drinking pops, whatever. And then when they cut meat, they all of a sudden stopped doing all that, and now they're vegans. And they're like, I feel so much better. Yeah, because you were doing all that other crap. And also, where did your meat came from? How did you eat it? Like a shitty McDonald's with the buns, or you ate like a free range, whatever, like a steak, properly cooked and everything. So
a lot of the like people are like, I need to like I couldn't hack it or whatever. Obviously, there's always going to be like a withdrawal symptom, you know what I mean? And the time where you just cut something out to adapting and researching and getting like everything that you got from that to that point. So people are like, I felt weak. Well, maybe because you wasn't eating what you needed to, or you know, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people sort of just put it on the back burner and be like, it didn't work for me.
Yeah, no patience. When in Bali, I did detox for 15 days, and my detox was mainly I would just drink juices, just smoothies and all that stuff, and I felt freaking amazing. And the guy said like, especially a lot of like these seaweeds and algae stuff,
Yeah.
they're like very high in certain type of this. And he's like, you need to eat this kind of stuff. It's going to be so much better for you than instead of shoving meat and dead carcasses, you say. And I was like, but that algae tastes like shit.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I gotta say. Like, there's a lot of crappy vegan food out there, but there is some crazy, delicious vegan food out there. You just gotta like find the good places, or just do some bloody research and learn how to cook it yourself.
Yeah. Did you see that video where Piers was going mad on this lady about? So she's this vegan advocate, and he said, "But what about bees? You're killing all the bees because bees need to fly to your avocado farms, and they need to get there. You're killing so many bees."
The problem, and it's really annoying. Like the main nuisance to the opposing argument is that. Oh, but then this, but then this, but then it's like it's just nitpicking really.
No, I totally agree of that. The way the farming is now, it's incredible. It's just horrible, you know.
I will say, going back to the egg thing, if I had my own chickens, I might not be opposed to having their eggs.
There you go.
Like, no one's getting harmed.
There you go.
And if there isn't a rooster, then you know. So there you go. There you go.
We got the common ground right there. I like that. Nice. Yep. That's a good argument. And like eggs, I think again, chicken are so much fun as long as they don't see mouse, because then they're gonna go crazy. They look like little dinosaurs.
Chickens eat everything.
Yeah.
People don't realize.
Yeah, they're evil. Yeah, they're evil. Okay, that's it. We're done with talking about vegans and veganism. I specifically said to Erol, bring something different to wear, but he's like, I wear different costumes every day on the set. Like, I'm just gonna be this. But yeah, here you go. The spaceman is back in the house.
I like it. Looks good.
I know. It's the colors, man. This is what's up. This is how it goes. I have this new thingy.
So when I speak, it sounds like this, and then when you speak,
sounds like this.
the laugh is the best. So, what is your favorite vegetable? Go on. What's your favorite vegetable?
Tough one. Favorite vegetable.
I am Groot. You have to say, I am Groot.
I guess potato. We'll go with potato.
Go with the potato. That's very original. How do you like sweet potatoes?
Yeah, I do, but sweet potatoes was actually man-made.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
Oh, just like dogs. They used to be wolves.
yeah.
But there's a different way to call sweet potato. It could be sweet potato and
A yam.
a yam. Okay, I will switch this up just before I do that. Say that you're not my father.
You are not my father.
No, you should say, I'm not your father.
I'm not your father.
And we're back. Can you imagine doing the whole podcast like that? Oh, you're gonna get used to it eventually. Okay, so this is the last third segment, which is kind of a fun segment, I guess. So I did ask you about books, films, and people, 3 of each. So let's start with the books, and you said Bruce Lee Fighting Spirit. The only thing what I read from Bruce Lee's, and unfortunately this time I wasn't able to read this one, was Bruce Lee's biography, which I found
very good,
very interesting. It's like, and
amazing.
One fact which I didn't know about him, that even before he got into martial arts, he was just very, very rebellious. Just like, I'm not gonna go with everyone. I'm not gonna be the sheep. I'm gonna do what I want to do, kind of thing.
Yeah, he's obviously for many of us a huge inspiration. Growing up, my room was basically a Bruce Lee, everything, like it was just like everything, posters on the walls. It was a Bruce Lee gift shop basically, nunchucks everywhere,
Because you mentioned, like, I was listening to some of the stuff before, that Van Damme was kind of the blood sport or the kickboxer.
Yeah.
So would you say Bruce Lee was still higher than Van Damme?
Yeah, like equally, like you go through different phases. When you love someone, and you always that it becomes a part of you, you know. So obviously I learned to use nunchucks and sort of got into Kung Fu because of Bruce Lee. Massive inspiration that way. You know, and obviously like reading his books and understanding his philosophies like a little bit more. And then sort of, again, as films developed, like, you know, obviously like Bruce Lee's films weren't great, but, you know, Van Damme again, his style and everything, it was kick-ass time, man, to be growing up in there. You know, the 80s films was just next level inspiration, you know.
And also it was so different that we could not just reach for this little device and look at like million videos or whatever.
Yeah.
We were watching VHS tapes.
Yeah, that's where I was learning the stuff from.
Or like in my case, we didn't even have a VHS player. We were just like, if I would see that on TV that one time, and then you can't rewind and watch it again, you were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So different. And so why this specifically, this book, Fighting Spirit?
So it's basically a book about, again, like his philosophies and sort of like what he, like how he understood things to be like the human body and all that kind of stuff. So it's just like a more in-depth look into like his life. And for me, I was like, oh, this is, you know, I don't know, like I wasn't always a big reader, so like to be reading information, you know, and it's like a lot more personal than like watching it on TV or listening to it, or, you know.
Yeah, because reading is, it's all like one of the reasons why I'm doing this segment. I just love that you read that book and I read that book, but we can see and notice totally different things.
Yeah, of course, yeah, and like the images in your head are always, you know, gonna be different. So definitely, I've read like most of his books, to be honest. His biography was like really good as well. That was written by his sister, wasn't it, Shannon?
I think so, yeah. Because she did the whole research and she was like talking about how she would find certain things was quite odd about like how certain like producers or whatever like treated him and all that kind of stuff.
Like
he
had that hardship and all that kind of stuff. So it's nice again just to understand that character that you know you held so dear, and that was your teacher, right? So yeah, he done a lot for me. And then Jean-Claude, obviously, just the panache of the way his films are, and like the you know, obviously like the splits and stuff. We both, you know,
okay, we'll talk about Jean-Claude a little bit later. So about Bruce Lee, so since we're talking about his book, the him as well, so the movie wise when he was with Texas Ranger, come on,
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris, yeah. What did you? Because like a lot of people say like that scene was like, oh, they enjoyed it. It's like, to me, even when I was a kid, because I think I saw around the same time I would see Van Damme stuff and I would see this one, and I was like, this looks so like rigid, very like the face,
different styles.
It's just like
different era.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't really.
Because Chuck Norris' hairstyle, I was just like, what the hell is that?
He's in the hairy chest. Like, I never grew a hairy chest.
And he was just like so intense and so like.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's different, isn't it? There was like Bruce Lee brought Kung Fu to the West, basically. So for all that there is now, that was like the beginning stages. He got the ball rolling. You know, so.
And then Jeet Kune Do, obviously, like his martial art. Did you try to find like schools where it would teach that?
Yeah, I did. There was quite a few Wing Chun schools around, but man, I wanted to, like, don't get me wrong, Wing Chun's great, but I need to kick things and you know, so Northern Shaolin system for me, like doing the research, I was just like, whoa, this is like from the crazy like eagle stances to like flying in the air, so like the whole spectrum. Flexibility, power, strength, all that kind of stuff, speed. I was like, this is what.
But wait a minute, Bruce Lee's martial art was Jeet Kune Do?
No, that was Jeet Kune Do is the style he developed, but he learned Wing Chun.
Wing Chun.
Yeah.
Right. No. But So he developed Jeet Kune Do. Yeah, and then it was like him developing it, like it was his thing. Yeah. So that's what I'm asking. Why wouldn't you be pursuing that?
Yeah, there wasn't like
there was not.
Yeah, and to be honest, through like even when I started Chinwoo, I was still researching and doing stuff. But like Master Lee was such a good teacher. He's still a great teacher. Like my flexibility, my conditioning, my work ethics, he pushed me beyond.
Nice.
Always there was
You
no
need that.
So forever grateful for that. 100%. So yeah, if you want like some real hardcore kung fu, go seek out Master Lee. I think he's got a new gym now in Hendon Central, I think it is, or West Hendon. And it used to be at old film studios.
Oh, really?
And the gym's called OMG, Old Masters Gym. So I was
Nice.
like, yeah, it's gangster.
Nice.
But yeah,
OMG. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Old Masters Gym.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next book was The Way of the Superior Man, and that's a book. When I did podcasts in Bali, I think almost every guest had chosen that as their favorite book. And I think this book should be read by all men right now, just to kind of understand what the hell is going on and how we've been pushed into almost like to believe that masculinity is something horrible, or to believe that, that the values are just like so different. But this raw concept is still there. And one of my favorite bits from this book was about that everyone, and including women, but men, they should have their thing. This is where I'm like, this is my core, right? That's what they call it. That I dedicated myself, and any woman will appreciate it more if you have that your thing, and even if you spend less time with her, but it's quality time and you're present and all that. And I really like these things what they were talking about. So what struck you from this?
So for me, it was I was going through like a little bit of a troubled time in my life, and sometimes you just need like a different perspective of like, like when you always think you're doing the right thing and you're sort of doing your best, but then you can't understand the situation that you're in. So I can't even remember. I think I might have read the back of the book in a bookstore and thought, I need to read this at some point. And then so it kind of just like reminded me, and I was like, let me read this book. Done a bit of research. It's like, let me get it. And then sort of just reading it makes you sort of understand it, how other people might see you as a character, and what I could do to, or maybe soften certain thoughts, and how to come across, So, I mean, we're always learning. Like, you should always be developing and stuff. But reading that book really helped me to, I suppose, sort of mold my masculinity in a different light, rather than like, obviously we want to be strong and we want to be confident and all that kind of stuff. But there's other ways to get that across, and other people can appreciate it as well. So it really helped me in a few of my relationships.
And that's again the greatest thing is like, you're gonna take something from it which I wouldn't even think about it. It's like everyone is gonna. It would address us in a different way and speak to us and the things what we notice. Definitely for me, I was like, I never read it, but I think I did 5 times audio version. And it's like,
and what's very interesting about the book as well, that basically the guy who wrote it, I can't remember his name. I really should probably know. But basically, he wrote it. Obviously, he's a man, so he wrote it in his perspective as a man. But it's not just for men.
Yeah.
So,
no, definitely.
So it's for women as well. So.
Yeah. David Dada.
David Dada.
Yeah.
Appreciate your work, sir.
David Dada, shout out, buddy. No, that is great, and especially nowadays. And I mean, like, finally, that it feels like those not rainbow glasses, but this foggy glasses are swept away, saying that toxic masculinity is bad or that's bad or whatever. No. It's, first of all, it's all about figuring out how it works in balance and how it works. It's not fully that is 100% bad and this is 100% good. There should be always some kind of a correspondency with each other. So
100%.
And it's great that these kind of books exist, and a lot of men find it's almost like a savior. Like, you see, actually, what I do is not that bad, but maybe I could change something around it and be who I am. That's good stuff. And then the third book is the Lord of the Rings
The Lord
trilogy.
of the Rings trilogy.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
man.
You're one of them.
I'm not a big reader, but my brother brought it home. I think I read The Hobbit first, and I was like a lot smaller book. I was like, oh, this is a cool little book, like,
Yeah.
and it was like really enjoyable. And then I thought, let me start on Lord of the Rings, and it was a challenge. Yeah.
Fuck, maybe I should get into it. I never
I
read.
I would enjoy it now, I think, more, but like I said, I was never a big reader. I didn't really enjoy reading and stuff like that, so it was like a chore to sort of be like, all right, I'll just read a chapter a day.
How are you doing with audiobooks? It must make way
Do you know what?
better.
I need to. I haven't really got into audiobooks, but I really need to. But yeah, for me, I just sort of, if I'm on a long journey, I'll just do like a podcast or something. Yeah. So I do really need to get more into audiobooks, but I just find there's like reading. It's sort of like, it's the opposite of like looking at your phone. It sort of like undoes the damage from looking at your phone. So I do try to sort of like read more, but unfortunately, a lot of the times, life gets you busy, right? So I need to like definitely get into some audiobooks.
And hopefully that's one of the biggest problems with audiobooks is the monotonous reading. So there's some readers, narrators, they're pretty good, kind of engaging, but a lot of them are just like, it's so boring. That's why podcast is more easier to listen, and it's more captivating because it's conversation, right?
Yeah.
But there are some books out there who are like, one of them is, it's about something shaman, spirit hacking. That's the one. Yeah, spirit hacking. So if you have a moment, find it in audio version and check it out. It's like, it's literally, he talks about like how these, he knew from beginning when he was a kid, like there's something different. Like literally the story is about how these shamans actually can hear like these voices and all that stuff. It's insane. It's like, what are you guys talking about? Anyways, okay, so those are books, and now let's just dive straight into movies and films.
Do it.
And your first one, Conan the Barbarian, really?
Such a good film. I actually listened it definitely wasn't one of my first films I've watched, but it was one of the first films that just captivated me so hard. Like the storytelling, like I've watched it like so many times now, and every time I'm just like, this is so good. The music, the way it was shot, the action, everything is such a well-told story, and the adventure of it is just for me, it's just untouchable. So when they made the new one, I was just like, oh god.
Really?
Yeah, real.
So when you saw the new one, like what happened with the new one? Like,
it's just nothing. I think the first like bit with the kid Conan, I was like, oh, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it just dropped off real quick.
The thing is, like, I've started watching it just yesterday because I realized I haven't seen it.
What, Conan the Barbarian?
I know, I haven't seen it.
God,
I'm such
so good.
This is, but I loved what Arnie was saying about it when he said, "I need to do all my stunts by myself." Like, nobody would. We didn't get like because they couldn't get anyone as big as him, right? So he had to do the horse riding. Like he would do the sword stuff. But then yesterday, as I was started watching, like him using the sword, it's I want to say good things.
Listen, again, you can't compare like the old to what we are now, but like for those times, incredible. And again, like the percussion, like it just draws you in. I think that's like what a lot of films like now is. Number one, the storytelling, character development, and the music just is not the same anymore. It's like, with that I agree. Music is so huge, and Quentin Tarantino, he knew that from very beginning. Like his Pulp Fiction, like that, I think it's like 50% is music. It's just like that's the feeling. Whatever the music is going to be the feeling, right? So
soundtrack. It
was just like for Conan the Barbarian, Conan the Destroyer. For me, I was like, right, that's like,
and Conan Destroyer, Arnie was starring it as well. Yes, I haven't seen it either.
Great, both of them, great films. If you haven't seen them, go watch them.
Nice. And then we had The Last Samurai. Okay, I can relate it. I've watched it.
Just like touching. I think out of all the samurai films of recent years, I think like that was like a nice, very authentic appreciation for the culture and stuff. And obviously at the end, like touched me as like, you know, you can really like feel how the times changed and sort of like swept out, you know, like almost like the whole culture, I suppose, like, you know, their way of life and things like that.
It was, I mean, also, you know, Tom Cruise looks sexy as fuck in this one. Like, he looks really good with that kind of longish hair.
Yeah.
And I think it's so nice to see how someone who's representing Western culture and who thinks, oh, Western culture is the boss, blah, 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 comes in this where, like, they just fight with sticks on daily basis, and, like, they practice they martial arts and in general just the art of living. And in the beginning he's like, oh, what is this? But then accepting and then realizing, whoa, this is so cool.
And again, like another point to add, the music that you know, the music throughout the whole film was like incredible. So yeah, that definitely helped. But yeah, again, like the perspective of the West aren't the good guys kind of thing. You know, it's nice to see it from the other perspective with the music and everything is beautiful.
And I loved from the side of the captivators. What country was that represented, by the way?
Japan.
Yeah. So from Japanese side, the guy who was like the boss of the house of the village, when Tom Cruise's character was like, so why did you take me? Why did you keep me alive? And he's like, I need to learn from you. He had a very Russian accent. I need to learn from you. And so I was like, yeah, that's cool. And yeah, sick movie. That's a nice choice. Better than the first one. And then and the last one, Kill Bill. You know, again, it's one of those. It's just like classic. Now we can say it's classic.
Again, I think a lot of people, like, not everyone loves it because like, oh, it's a white woman or whatever. But I thought it was just such good entertainment. So good. Like the kung fu in it is incredible. Like the characters, it was just like literally an amazing comic book just thrown onto the screen. And Kill Bill 1 and 2, I just love it, man. I just love them both. I would have loved to worked on those kind of films.
Yeah, but, and just in the opening when this woman who's been on the bed like for how long, and then this guy who's been coming there and doing all this weird shit, and then she just fucked him up. And I was like, oh, sweet revenge, that was awesome.
It is so good. I love that film. But these aren't like, these are a handful of
films. I knew
like,
that it's
I'm
very,
not just like an action guy. I like,
it's very tough. It's very tough choice. What about non-action film? Like, what would you say? It's The Greatest Showman, most likely.
Greatest Showman, that was cool. Yeah, I like Moulin Rouge.
Yeah,
say that.
Voulez-vous coucher?
I don't know. Name me some films.
I don't know. Like for me, probably it's like those like Shawshank Redemption, something like that. For me, it's like a humongous, or Killing Private Ryan, Finding Private Ryan,
Killing
and that kind of stuff. I guess for me, it's funny. I ask these questions to people.
Ex Machina was a good one as well. Like, I mean, there's hundreds. But
there's a lot of them.
Of my head,
Rick and Morty.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's gonna change your life. Okay, and we go to three people. Russell Brand.
Yes, Russell Brand.
I was like, wow,
that's a G. I think in the times that we're living in, the work that he's doing is so important. I think he's at the heart of I think like any like veganism, spiritualism. Almost every single topic that is like a big thing. If just listen to what the man's saying, the people he's talking about, and it's just like, if you know, it's just black and white, very simply put facts, you know,
simply put,
and it's no like, it's just clarity, you know what I mean? And he's so articulated. Obviously, he's been through the whole experience, you know, and he's just come out as a real, genuine person of knowledge, and he's fighting the demonic entities that we're all fighting now, the media, the government, you know, all that kind of stuff. And he's just a very good public figure to look into if you just feel confused about anything, pretty much, you know. And the way he does it is obviously he's entertaining and, you know, very
And the sheer variety of his talents is insane.
Yeah,
acting, stand up.
yeah.
No, this podcast is just insane.
Yeah, his podcast is
And
really
yeah,
good.
when you said articulated, I couldn't agree more. Like the way he
Yeah.
speaks, like who are you?
yeah.
He could easily be a smashing politician or whatever.
Yeah, like his debates are like next level. Is like so entertaining because he just goes in and he's just super clear, very chilled.
And I love how he also is just so open about his days of drug addiction and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So many people can relate.
yeah. I mean, like him, have him and Joe Rogan done a podcast?
Yeah,
have,
I
right?
think a
Yeah.
couple times.
Yeah?
I don't think it's just one time. They've definitely done a couple
I mean,
times. Yeah, check it out.
yeah.
And
I like
and
Joe Rogan, but
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, like Joe Rogan, in my opinion, there's he's the pioneer who brought this thing up. Like he actually, I forgot the name, but there's this other guy who actually started podcast, and Joe Rogan was influenced by him,
Yeah,
from
that's right,
him, seeing like that. Oh, that's a thing. I will do it as well. And then his thing, like one of the best things about Joe Rogan is he's just like, I never cared about the viewership, the audience. I just want to hang out with my mates.
yeah,
And like get these conversations out. And the thing is, you see, again, like we know each other for like 9-10 years.
Yeah.
When we ever had that kind of conversation.
it's true.
You know what I mean?
We've had some conversations, some good
you
ones.
know,
Yeah,
true, but like almost 3 hours, and we talk about specific topics,
Yeah,
and
for
there's
sure, yeah.
nothing else, interrupts us and stuff. So I think that's a beauty of just kind of saying that this is the way how is the best to get the information out, and Russell Brand picked it up and he's like, oh, I will do it, and
Yeah.
that's because of Joe Rogan's stuff, and it's great. I love it, the whole concept. What is your favorite film with him?
Russell Brand. I don't know. I think the last one I saw him was get him to the Greek.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
I
was
was just
good.
about to say it was,
Yeah,
it was good.
yeah. I can't say he's like one of my favorite actors or anything like that, but
Yeah.
yeah, he was entertaining for sure.
What actor you would say you had like the best banter hanging out with?
Probably Henry Cavill.
Oh,
Henry
nice.
Cavill, yeah, he's pretty cool. Like really lovely guy, down to earth. Like
Yeah.
worked with him as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So I've done a few things with him now. I think I first met him on Mission Impossible. Just ended up
Like you did
chatting.
that.
Yeah. Loaded his guns.
Loaded
like,
his guns, yeah.
yeah, he's like just a super nice guy.
Yeah.
Like down to earth.
He's cool.
Wants to work hard, wants to do the training, and he's not like an arsehole basically.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
never like he's not a diva.
Oh, since you brought this up, I need to tell a story about Henry. So last year when we did the Witcher, we were in the woods shooting it. Like we were playing these soldiers who just basically get killed by him,
Yeah.
obviously.
As always.
And then there was a little break, and no one was around. It was just him getting his prep meals because he had like this meal guy who
Yeah.
brings him meals every whatever
Meal prep,
time.
yeah.
And then he would just sit there and eat that meal, and he hears from in the back someone's rustling noise. He looks back, and there's this makeup lady. She's just pulling her little cart with all this makeup stuff.
Yeah.
And he just got up straight away and said, "Oh, here you go." Like she could easily walk around him,
Yeah.
and he chose to just come, like lift his stuff, and he's already eating out of like this plastic, box, not like some silver spoons, and
Yeah.
And then he just and I was one of the only ones who was sitting in the bush secretly, and I just saw it. So you can see like he's not trying to impress anyone. He's just being genuine. He's been nice. And the other bit, what I really liked with him, we had the scene where we're like in this library. Remember the library scene?
Yeah.
And he would get up and say, look at the window, and he would say like, "I'm tired of this politics." And then he sees like something in the far, like there's a fog or whatever stuff. And then a couple of days later, when we were dead soldiers just lying down in uncomfortable costumes, and I look at the other stunty there, and I'm just like, I'm tired of this politics. And then someone started laughing in the back, and I look up, and it's Henry. So yeah, good sense of humor. Just a really cool dude.
Yeah.
Started with Russell Brand, and now we're talking about Henry Cavill. Graham Hancock.
Graham Hancock, yes. Again, another influential figure through like history and things like that. Like he's obviously way out there in terms of like he's our history and things like that. So he's like really pushing for like what we were basically, our history as human beings, and he's had to fight off like loads of other researchers and Egyptologists, archaeologists. So his whole career, he's always been like fighting these people for like being like, no, this is that. And again, like his podcasts and his books, and just him as a person is like really, really cool guy.
Yeah. Did you hear that podcast what they did with Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
And then they had a skeptic, this one skeptic, and then there's another geologist. And this is an old podcast. This is like Joe Rogan just did his 2004th.
Yeah.
This is like 300 something. And that conversation, like I was driving because I had like my last job was like I had to drive like an hour and a half. And I was listening to that. They were chewing him from left and right. And he was like, yeah, like, just fighting them back and forth.
He's like, And like the way he like talks, because they tried to shit on him like so many times, saying like it was racist and all this kind of bullshit, you know. So for them to do that to him and for him to come out on top and keep pushing these concepts, you know, which is like, it's factual, like for God's sake, like, you know, they're literally like holding back the human race in terms of like where we came from and stuff. And obviously our history has been like hidden from us constantly. So yeah, if we don't know where we come from, we don't really know who we are, right? So it's a big mystery still.
One of the biggest battle was basically saying that the mainstream scientists or like the historians are basically just so against any like alternative ideas, and he's representing these alternative ideas, and they basically like the main kind of one of the main arguments is like why they're not accepting that. It's like, who the hell are you, like where did you come this from, like la 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 la. And then they tried to compare him with like saying like the skeptic. He was basically saying, but we every day we have someone coming with these ideas, these crazy ideas, like what do you think we're just going to take them? And then Graham was like, yeah, but look at what I'm giving you. What is the backbone of what I'm offering to you and stuff. And it's just like, this going back and forth with, it's basically someone with new ideas coming across just the old dogma, kind of.
It's not just ideas though, it's his findings, like Göbekli Temple.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, okay, so we know now that humans were around at this time, and so but obviously it goes against what we have in the history books. So
the mainstream history.
So it's kind of like, why would they reject that?
That's very interesting.
But I suppose it gets into religion as well. So if the Bible says this, but then it's like, well, actually, humans, so it's very, very political. Obviously, our history and that kind of genre. But he's a G, man. The guy's like, what? Is he in his 70s now?
Not sure. What's his age?
But he's just like still killing it. Used to smoke a lot of weed as well, which is like cool. Like he's done like ayahuasca, all these spiritual ceremonies. So
psychedelics and stuff. What is your stance towards psychedelics?
I am all for it.
Okay.
I think if it's used in a environment that's safe, and I do think you need a guide, obviously, like to expand your mind massively. I've done ayahuasca myself, which was a amazing, life-changing experience for myself.
How long ago was this?
This is like maybe 10 years ago, maybe.
Wow.
I need to do it again.
A while ago.
But I was already like very spiritual, obviously like following the Buddhist philosophies. I studied in the mountains for a year.
Wait, you studied in the mountain?
Yeah, when I went to China for a year. Just basically stayed in this Shaolin school that was like had no TV and all that kind of stuff. So.
And your reasoning behind was that you want to become levitating G, or what was?
Basically, of course, unlock my full potential. But I think spiritually, I've always felt like there's something calling, you know, that is like more than just 9 to 5 kind of rubbish. You know, like martial arts is such a spiritual journey. So in like a lot of people just practice the physical side of it. But the spiritual side is, you know, obviously it's very, very powerful. So like smoking weed, everyone thinks, oh, you smoke weed, you're lazy, or this or that. But for meditation, for focus, it is incredible if you use it as a tool rather than just abusing it, you know. And obviously quality and all that kind of stuff. And then the same with ayahuasca is like, you would never just do it just to let's have fun kind of thing. It's like a whole ceremony behind it,
intention behind it.
Yeah.
What was because I never done ayahuasca. I've done mushrooms in Bali 4 times now, and from very first time I was very lucky because the people who were I was involved with, they said like, yes, Renars, you need intention. I was like, what do you mean? I just want to get high. No.
Yeah.
If you want to just get high, this is not how we do it.
They're not party drugs.
This is not what it is. Yeah. And and it was just an incredible, crazy experience. Like it's just that journey, and that when someone says trip, people say, "Oh, you're tripping, bro."
Yeah.
But no, it's actual trip. It's like 4 or 5 hours experience of seeing things what you never would notice and stuff, and that's why like it just resonates to so much to what Joe Rogan is talking about. Like there's these whole theories that humans are actually monkeys who are just eating mushrooms and stuff, and they expanding their minds and all that stuff. So tell me about the ayahuasca. How was it?
Well, it's very personal, but basically, it's just like it will give you whatever messages that you need. So you might be like, oh yeah, I want this or that, but obviously being very food conscious and stuff. So going into it, I was already meditate. Respecting the ceremony and all that kind of stuff. So I was already like very spiritual going into it. So when I did take it, it was just like everything that I needed to see, things that like perspective of like how I've been living my life, like all different kinds of emotions come out. You kind of have like you can have like a spirit guide as well. You can meet entities. It's a whole like new world, you know what I mean? And for me, it was just like a lot of what I thought in terms of like the human being, like the core of the human being essence, is like kind of just solidified it for me and confirmed it, you know what I mean? And in a very like loving way. And it was it was so overpowering. It was an incredible experience, and coming out of the whole thing, I was just like, "Whoa, life is amazing," you know.
Yeah, and prior to that, you would try to smoke weed? You tried that?
Yeah, like I've never been like, oh, I got to smoke weed.
Yeah,
but like I'm like through my Kung Fu, like the bulk of my Kung Fu journey. From different times, I would like smoke weed like maybe once a week on a Friday or something, and I would always like end up just doing like I'd go into like a trance, learning, stretching or doing weapons or whatever it was. I would just be like in a trance with that, and really like focus on it, and it would just be like every time I would just next day feel amazing. I've learned so much, And
you never drank alcohol?
I drank alcohol until I was, I think, 21.
Right.
I was never like a big drinker.
Yeah,
but
just
I had
got a couple
plenty
beers
of
there and whatever.
like fun drunken nights. So I completely understand like the law of alcohol. But ultimately, I was like, if I want to be as good as I want to be and reach certain spiritual heights and things like that, I was like, alcohol's really the worst drug there is. Like it just
and it's everywhere, and you can buy everywhere.
Yeah, it's such a poison on the body, the mind.
Yeah, because also even like when I say smoking weed, it's just it does have that negative connotation. Like, smoking weed, smoking weed. But exactly. But at the same time, even though I would just say edibles, much just sounds so much better. Yeah. I took gummy bears as an edibles. I'm like, that's not bad. I just went to Prague in Czech Republic, and they have, by the way, they have weed is legal.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and they have amazing shops. So you can get the vapes, you can get all those things. And I bought the bag of edibles, and I would have like 2 of them, and my day was just a little bit of buzz, a little bit of like like microdosing. And that leads to my other question. So microdosing, have you considered? Have you ever done it?
I want to get because like I said, I'm taking lion's mane now.
What is it?
Lion's mane.
You mentioned earlier.
Yeah, so it's like all this new research. It was one of the Joe Rogan podcasts with I can't remember the guy's name, but he's like a professor in like mushrooms and stuff.
Yeah. Was that the guy who was wearing the hat out of mushrooms? Yeah. And I always forget his name.
I was just like, oh my god,
that guy's awesome.
Why the hell am I not doing mushrooms of like all? Not even the psychedelic ones. Civil something Cybin.
Psilocybin.
yeah, that's
Psilocybin
one,
ones, yeah. Psilocybin, I
Yeah,
like that better.
right.
You get so much more civil.
Yeah, and then so yeah, I was like, whoa, I got to start taking lion's mane and just start experimenting with these mushrooms to heal my brain to like
Yeah. I just typed Mushroom Man Joe Rogan.
yeah.
Paul Stamets.
Yeah. Well,
Paul, that's the one. The mushroom guy.
yeah, and it's just like, I want to, and then I've got loads of friends that are microdosing, so I'm like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Eventually, maybe I would like to try it.
I
sure.
definitely want to get in. I just
Yeah.
need to figure out how this works. And it's
Yeah.
crazy, one of these things, like, like how is it legal? Is it not legal? Is it like there's that whole connotation to it. Anyways, but here talking about Paul Stamets, one of the things I would really like that he actually really struggled with stutter. Yeah. Yeah, that's me now. Like I wanted to say speech impediment, but it's a stutter. And after doing the psilocybin or doing the other mushroom stuff, he basically got rid of it, and then he has started saying to other people, and it's just it mesmerizes me how much, as you used, I love that expression, by design, we are conditioned. Alcohol is good, which is the most horrible thing out there. You can buy
one killer
on every corner. Cigarettes, what's, it's not that good for you, but, I mean, right now we're getting more straight about it. This is fucking you up, right? But like 10 years ago, it calms your nerves down. You should have some cigarettes. And then these kind of things got, like, thanks to all these activists, the mushroom and the psychedelics have finally started making their way, and America is like already getting better and better, and like weed and stuff. If my dad would be still alive, because he was alcoholic and he passed away. If he would smoke weed, man, I mean, it would be just like, yeah, what's up, bro? Instead, like, alcohol just turns your mind upside down. You just go all this
so
crazy.
damaging.
And just so.
There's a new study that like what it does to your brain now as well. Like obviously it destroys you.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like a new study. I haven't like listened to the podcast of it. I can't remember where I heard about it. But basically, like what it does to your brain is just like it should scare anyone.
Yeah. I did.
Let alone what it does to your body.
I did listen a documentary in Russian a while ago, and they basically were saying not even small dosages of alcohol can be damaging, and especially for women, because this ethanol spirit finds the way to eggs and actually messes up the egg, and kids can be born with deformities and all that stuff. And here's an interesting fact, a very sad fact. During the Soviet Union days, when they felt like the Soviet Union is about to collapse and all that, they were drinking down their population, basically just getting all this alcohol, promoting and advertising on movies and like, oh, it's cool to drink and whatever, to the point where there were so many alcoholic families that their kids were born with certain deformities. It's almost like Down syndrome, like their foreheads were like bigger and all that. And they had all over Soviet Union, they had about, I don't know the number, like 40, 50 special schools for the kids with these deformities. It's like, it's insane. And knowing all of this, we still go, here's the shop, buy a beer, whatever. It's insane. It's like, hopefully, and I mean, we're getting to that direction, and hopefully our kids, they can just do shrooms every day. And the last person was your mom.
Yeah, my mom. Yeah.
And I love when guests are not, that much saying like, oh, this celebrity, that celebrity, because, I can say the same thing about my mom. Like, I was just very lucky. So.
Yeah, I mean, she's just always been my best friend. Obviously, she had any mum is going to be, loving and stuff, but she's always like supported me. I didn't always do well in school. I always just felt like school was holding me back.
Yeah.
And she's just always been there to support me and, just make me feel confident in my decisions, and sort of being like my advisor. In many different subjects. So,
did you have other siblings? Do you have other siblings?
I have an older brother, younger sister. So we're all like super close growing up and stuff. So we've always had like a nice, loving environment. Again, thanks to my mum and dad. My dad was obviously, he was a huge inspiration growing up as well. But my mum's just, she's just always been there. I can talk anything I need to with her. So yeah.
Yeah. And
Sheniz Ismail, shout out.
Hey, what's her name?
Sheniz.
Woo, Shanice. And she's, what is her background, where she's from?
Cyprus.
From Cyprus.
Yeah. Mum and dad both from North Cyprus.
Right, so they moved here, and then had you guys, or?
They're I'm second generation, so my grandparents moved here.
Right.
Moved to Hackney.
What are your siblings doing?
My brother I think he's changing jobs. He's studying to be a psychologist at the moment, so he's gone back to school for that. And then my sister's recently had her second baby boy, so she's a full-time mummy.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
So big family.
And how is your family reacting on you, like being this big stunt man?
They love it.
And I saw in this movie. Did you get killed in this movie again?
Yeah.
That's
like, when are you gonna?
My nephew always messaged me. Oh, you got killed again. You were like 2 seconds on the screen.
Yeah. You never want to talk about work, but I kind of like just. Obviously, my mum loves it, so
nice.
Yeah, it's nice to share things. I try to, instead of them asking me, I'll be like, "Oh my god, I was with Henry Cavill or Tom Cruise today," and rather than them like, "Oh my god, I saw you was with him." So yeah, it's cute, isn't it?
That is.
You take it for granted, and like our industry is incredible. And I also think it's open to interpretation of what you want it to be for you.
Yeah,
so,
that's. I love that the way you say that. I love it. And like when you mentioned about the school and it's how crazy to even think about that school at any point is the right way, or this is how it should be. I mean, there's basically there's created this box or this certain square, whatever, and they try to put the pegs in and they try to put all sorts of shape and just with force to squeeze it through because this is the only thing we have. And I was very lucky in school because I could just talk my way through. I could just always have a discussion. My chemistry was so bad, but somehow I figured out that I will talk to certain school fellows. I will get answer from one, then I will trade that answer to the other one, and they give me other answer. I literally was like, in that perspective, I think school is great to figure out how to get your way around the community and people around you, I guess.
Yeah, it's still like I'm not shitting on school, and I think it definitely has its place. But I think it's so rigid in its form.
Yeah.
And again, unfortunately, the government, how our syllabus is set up for a 9 to 5 kind of.
Yeah.
They're not looking for like thinkers; they're looking for workers.
Yeah.
And that's.
And you never done 9 to 5 job?
No, well, not 9 to 5, but I always had like little jobs. I was always hustling. Like I worked in. Probably the shittest one was I worked in a key factory.
In a key factory?
Yeah, oh my god, it was...
Wait. Are you with in Matrix, what's the guy's name?
the key maker.
The key maker! You are the key maker. Hey!
But yeah, that was like... I probably did that for like maybe 3 weeks. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Jeez. But I was always like hustling and trying to make money here and there. Worked in M&S. Like I used to do... 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. shift. So I didn't have to deal with any of the customers and nothing like that. And I was doing like the operations, so like all the deliveries and things like that. So that was quite cool. Did that for like maybe 2 years. Worked in a factory, like literally a closed factory when I was like maybe like 11 or 12. And I used to do 10-hour days. But I used to get like £200 at the end of the week for like a 12-year-old. So I'd just smash that out through like summer and just doing 10 hours a day. Why
was it in your family said like you need to figure out your own way to make cash?
No. Like
or you just wanted to do it?
I was like, I just wanted to be like independent.
Independent,
and,
that's cool.
It's just free, be able to do what I need to do. I was never like, I'm pretty good with money. I don't just like spend stuff. Like quite... I've always like to have a buffer, not to be under that sort of pressure. Right. And again, like society, the consumerism. I don't know. I just always had a different look on what I needed to be able to do what I want to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? So obviously we don't always want to go to the studios, and it can be taxing working in the film industry for sure. But what it gives you in return. It's like you've got to balance that out, you know. Which is why I like what your philosophy of just, you know, packing up, going to Bali for a couple of months.
Hey,
That's good, man. I love
yeah.
that.
I just love variety. You know, this is
Yeah,
about me. I mean,
yeah.
like staying in Bali for 6 months, I start missing, you know, this. I start missing the stunt industry and all that. But then when you go there, just after like you've been working your ass off and stuff, you're just like, yes, that's what's up.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
chilling
yeah.
on a surfboard and stuff. And I think,
Yeah.
I think we all, you know, I believe we in our DNA, we are gatherers and travelers and what they call
Explorers,
hunter-gatherers
yeah.
who move around,
That
who
is
just
the,
don't sit in the same spot all the time. Because changing environments, that's the only way you can develop and open up your
Broaden
mind.
your horizons, yeah.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
100%.
So we're almost done, but before that, I like for me the most vivid memories of your performance was the Mummy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Mummy where you're on desert fighting
Yeah, that's
Lucy
cool.
Cork.
Yeah.
I was just
Shout out
working
to
with her.
Lucy.
She was on the that film with Scott Adkins.
Yeah.
I will put a little photo. Me and her were standing in a elevator,
Yeah.
dressed up as a like servant. I don't know, like people who work in a hotel. What do you call them? I was concierge, and so she's my sidekick, I guess. But yeah, dude, that was sick scenes. How long it took
cool.
you guys to film it in that desert?
So we've done like rehearsals and stuff.
Yeah.
We came up with the choreography, changed a whole bunch of times.
Mm.
I think it was maybe like a week, but we shot it in Namibia. So again, like crazy location. Like
Yeah.
the desert was absolutely beautiful, and we would film first thing in the morning, and then sunset and sunrise. So that was like the times to film. So we missed the crazy hot like part of the day, which was amazing.
But that was a goal. They wanted to show the sun that it's kind of going up or
that
going
golden,
down.
the golden hour, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was crazy, man. That's like super surreal. We had Wade Eastwood in the helicopter, like filming. So like, okay, guys, yeah, it's good. Like, you know,
Shout out to Wade Eastwood.
Wade Eastwood,
Yeah.
absolute G,
Absolute legend.
Yeah, and he would just be like in this helicopter, like flying above us.
Because they had the top shots and everything.
Yeah, giving us directions and stuff.
So cool.
And then we filmed it obviously like handhelds and stuff like that. And yeah, it was just like an amazing experience. And to do that, it was like.
And that is something where else are you going to do this? What other play, like, you would need to put your own money in. Here you are making cash in this really exotic location. And just being, that
was the first time I met Tom Cruise as well.
Oh, really?
So I got brought in. I had to do like a little, what can you do with a stick kind of thing. Done a few tricks with it and all that. And then Wade brought me onto set, and like we hadn't started shooting on nothing yet. And then he was like, "Oh, Tom, this is Erol." I was just like, "Pleasure to meet you." And then like the director was there, Wade was there, Tom Cruise, and myself, and I was just like, "This is pretty cool."
What was your first impression when you met Tom?
He was like, it was literally just us in the room, so there was no one around.
Yeah.
I think Tom Cruise is an absolute legend. He's been super cool every time I've met him. He knows what he wants. He knows how to get it done, like how to perform it. But he's just very particular about everything, like the lighting, the makeup, all that kind of stuff. Like obviously he's got his ego, but that's fair play to him, man. Like and he wants to do all the stunts. He's a genuine stunt action hero, like the best out there, really. We can't really fault him for that. Obviously, like he has his moments, like every actor, and obviously he's like massive Hollywood actor. Yeah. So he's gonna have his ego trips, but that's why Wade's there to simmer him down and get control, because sometimes he wants to do stuff that's like, whoa, you can't do that. Like when we was out in Namibia, there's a scene where he's like climbing down the mountains, and he was getting a bit closer. And it's like, well, you can't go behind this. That's it. There's no, so you got to have the enough authority in yourself to be like, no, that's where he might be like, no, he said no.
Did you hear ever that he would say to Wade, "Nah, man, I know what I'm doing. Shut up."
I don't know if he'll get that far, but they definitely like knocked heads a little bit.
Yeah.
But Wade is like, he knows how to handle him. Like, so
it's been
well.
years, like how many years
Yeah,
they've been working
exactly,
together.
so-
Wade Eastwood has been stunt coordinator for and working with Tom Cruise for I don't know how many Mission Impossibles.
Yeah, like.
And that's Mission Impossible, Mommy. What
Yeah.
else has been in between?
Did he do
Jack Reacher.
Jack Reacher?
Yeah.
Didn't he do the one with the robot? What was it called?
Oh yeah. Frick, I forgot already. I actually watched it not long ago
Oh, God, I should-
when they're just dying again and
Yeah,
dying
yeah,
and dying and dying.
yeah.
That's such a cool. I love the
Literally
concept.
lost my mind, but yeah. It's
Yeah,
the-
I love that Tom Cruise every day he just wakes up. Fuck this shit again.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
it's so crazy. It's the concept of that movie, the Gophers Day, or what is that like when
Oh,
this?
Groundhog Day.
Yeah, there you go. You know what I'm talking about. Groundhog Day, yeah, and then
Gophers Day.
learn all these skills and stuff.
Yeah.
And so someone was like, "Oh fuck, I wish I would have that."
What is the name? What is the name?
Oh, the movie? No, it's not gonna come back.
Yes.
It's fine. Yeah, when I met Tom Cruise as well, it was just so weird. He comes in a room, he knows everyone's names as well.
Yeah.
And then he just we couldn't get this timing right because I was coming and attacked this this lady. I forgot her name. And we couldn't get the time because she has to turn around and slash me. And then Tom basically, Renars, I will give you this look, and then that's your cue. And I'm like, okay. And then he did it. We got it straight away, and caught. And he comes up like I'm lying on the floor dead, just getting up. He's like, you see, when we work together, we can figure this shit out. I was like, yeah, baby.
Did he give you the spud?
I'm not sure. I think I was just so mesmerized by
Yeah, I
it.
was like, yes, bro.
I forgot everything that was happening around. Okay, dude. So the last thing I usually ask my guests is give us a bomb of wisdom. A bomb of wisdom for maybe young version of yourself. Any aspiring stunt performers or any who wants to pursue what they want to do.
I would say believe in yourself and chase those dreams relentlessly. That is definitely, I feel like that's what I've done. I definitely had my challenges through like just, coming into the stunt world more than anything. And now going into acting, I'm like, whatever, like as long as you're trying your best, nothing can get you down really. If you're not good enough, keep trying, and just keep going for it, because that is the best way to win. Set yourself up for failure, you know what I mean? And don't feel any way about it if you do fail.
Yeah.
That's the best advice I could give, even to myself.
Sweet. Sweet. And this is the end of this podcast. And thank you so much, man, for
Thanks
coming
for having
over.
me, bro.
Yeah.
a pleasure.
That's what's up. Very cool song in the back. Yeah. Now we show the moves. What was that thing that you did? Can you still do it? That's what's up.
Blah, blah, blah.
Renars Podcast.